Oh my gosh, we're there. Let's stop looking at the microphone. Just talk. Free the bear. Election night. Election nightmare, perhaps. I'm Bill Skog. I believe my. Oh my gosh, we're there. Oh, I can hear myself talking. Oh no. There we go. I'm awful at technology. I have no idea why this was put on my head and hands. My wife did most of it. She helped me. Otherwise, there would be no election coverage for the California National Party. For more information on the California National Party, I'm assuming that you're a party member if you're watching this, but californianational.party. Tonight, obviously the big one is the president. You know, even though we are a California independence movement, I think the whole world is watching, seeing what is going to happen. Cannot lie. It would be good for business. It would be good for business if Donald Trump was reelected for the California National Party. Business would be booming. But I guess, you know, good for America. Stress of the world, that perhaps it would be best if Joe Biden won. But we're going to look at the props, California, how they go. There's a few interesting races in California. Nancy Pelosi, for the first time, being challenged by someone to her left, Shahid Buttar, I believe his name is. I always want to say Shahid, but I know it's not that. But he's super progressive. He's been in the fight for a while. And it'd be interesting to see Nancy Pelosi lose. We'll see. We'll cover it here. I know one big election that I was looking forward to already called. I knew Mitch McConnell was going to win in Kentucky. And I get it, Kentucky. Thanks for the face. McConnell. That's the Mitch McConnell face. Mitch McConnell is a monster, no doubt about it. But if you're in Kentucky, why are you going to give up the most powerful senator for a moderate to extremely conservative Democrat? Why would you give that up? You know you're going to get good stuff every 6 years when Mitch needs to get reelected. You know you're going to get favoritism in the state of Kentucky because of him. So I totally get it. I get why Kentucky did it. And Kentucky had some really good candidates in the primary. Mike Breuer, this chicken farmer, supported Medicare for all, universal basic income, Green New Deal, was a guy who probably could have beat Mitch McConnell. The other candidate, the one who came really close, and his name is escaping my mind now, which is going to drive me nuts for the whole night. He probably would have gave Mitch McConnell a really good shot too. But you look at it, sometimes you're like, you know, I don't think the Democrats actually want to win. I think they want to just keep things in that struggle where they get a little bit, Republicans get a little bit, everyone shares the power in the two-party system. Because, yeah, that was a terrible candidate. I think much like Joe Biden, I think everyone can agree that if COVID hadn't happened and Trump's response to it wasn't so terrible, that this election wouldn't be close. Biden has really run a prevent defense. He's made very few appearances, and he's done very little. He hasn't taken many chances. So we're obviously care about the election, presidential election. Some, of course, the prop ballots, a few California races. I won't lie, I'm interested to see if Lindsey Graham holds a seat. Interested to see what are some of the other races that I care about. Georgia Senate races. See if Perdue keeps his seat. Ranked choice voting in Massachusetts, I'm excited about. I want to see the results for that. We're going to have some guests coming on shortly. Forbes should be here any second. And then we'll get more as we go through the night, through the noche. Let's see, what else am I going to say? You know, regardless what happens tonight, people are going to be upset. Half of the country is going to be depressed beyond belief, while the other half goes, nah, 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 we won, you lost, nah, 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 nah. And nothing is going to really fundamentally change either way. There will still be gridlock in Washington. That's my political way of saying Washington. Washington. That's not for Washington State, Cascadia people. That's Washington. But like when you're a rural candidate, you're trying to show those fat cats in Washington. It's about Washington. Yeah, half the country's going to be just despondent. Half the country's going to be overjoyed, and nothing will fundamentally change. So if you're in California and you're sick of this, consider joining the California National Party. America is really just, it's just so angry right now. It's so angry. Everyone's angry at each other. Every day I just watch videos of soccer moms fighting each other, or dudes who are fatter than me in like tank tops with the Trump hats, just starting confrontations. I want it to be over. I want this to be done with, but it's not going to be. I know even if the election results are declared tonight, which I really doubt, nothing. Trump supporters are still going to be angry. Biden supporters, if they lose, will be just as angry. For the record, I did not vote for either. I voted Howie Hawkins. I live in California. Why? My vote doesn't matter. It's going to go to Joe Biden. May as well get Howie Hawkins to almost that 5% he needs. Tonight, definitely another referendum on the electoral college system. I know a lot of people, well, you got to balance out the rural. And I get that, but that's what the Senate is for. You can't have both. It's not fair. You can either have the Senate, we can get rid of the Senate, or we can get rid of the electoral college. Have it your way. We'll see which one people would prefer. If I had to choose, I'd probably get rid of the Senate, keep the electoral college. That's just me. There's a lot of senators I don't like on both sides. Oof. So my prediction, I predicted earlier, 269 for the electoral college. I think I'm going to make a switch. I did a little research on Nebraska, and I believe that Joe Biden will get that one vote. So I believe it'll go 270 to 268 Joe Biden, with Republicans rioting in the streets, being very upset.
Sorry, you sound weird in the live feed.
I'm sorry. I apparently sound awful on the live feed. I'm sorry to everybody. Is it like echoing or?
No, it sounds like you're putting macho voice or something.
Macho voice? I'm not putting on my macho voice. Free the bear. Grr. Technology in action.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Go see how I sound. This is all rushed, guys. There's my daughter walking by. Look at that. I am so bad at technology that I think for my podcast and Forbes podcast to go forward, we need to find someone who can actually fix things and get things going. Because I was like last night just slamming my head against the wall. Like, I can't get this to work. Can't get it to work. And kind of got it working. Apparently I have a macho modulation. I have a dog here named Renly Barkrathian. He's very excited about election results. Oh gosh. So we're going to get some people on tonight. 3 things, because I want to make sure this is fair and balanced, just like Fox News. I want everyone who comes on to say something nice about Donald Trump, something nice about Joe Biden, and something nice about America. So it's going to be mostly people who want to declare independence from those 3 things. I figure we should say something nice so then people can't be like, you're completely biased. I can't trust anything you say. So one thing I like about, which one? This is tough. I'll go Joe Biden first. I like his policy on universal pre-K. Look at that. Like kindergarten, I know a lot of people talk about, they emphasize free 4 years of college. if I could give everyone free everything, that would be great. I would do that, but I would prioritize preschool. Make it so everyone has to go or has the opportunity to go, where it's structured. It's a, half day. I'd make kindergarten a full day. That's just me. But, statistics, am I good?
You're just so macho.
I maybe I'm just macho. Maybe YouTube just gives me a little macho-lation. Is it too loud, perhaps?
No, it's more like. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, Joe Biden, universal pre-K is a great thing. Studies show that kids who get words read to them early, have opportunity to education, they tend to do better. It was so important to my wife and I that we sent our daughter to Star Wars preschool. That's right. She went and learned the Force in her preschool. It was very surreal. Her graduation, there was R2-D2, there were stormtroopers. Was C-3PO there?
No.
C-3PO was not there, that's right. But R2-D2 was. And it was very bizarre. I just remember I was having a conversation with some guy. His granddaughter was friends with my daughter. My wife's like, yeah, that dude's a major player. That dude is involved with sound effects. He's won Academy Awards. And I was like, just some dude. Just another day in my life. No big deal. So I do like Joe Biden's universal pre-K. That is a great thing. I'll say nothing. No, I'm not going to say nothing. I don't want to Family Feud it. So someone else comes on and they want to say it. So that's one thing I definitely like about Joe Biden. Universal pre-K all day. Very good. Not all day, but all days. And that's a great idea. Oh gosh, do I want to Trump or America next? That's a tough one. All right, I'm going to go with Trump. Trump is responsible for getting rid of two of America's political family dynasties. He took out the Bushes in his primary in 2016, and he took out the Clintons in 2016. That's impressive. That's something that I think all progressives or independents can be very happy about. I remember in 2016 thinking to myself, imagine if your only two options are Clinton or Bush. That was terrifying. Perhaps not as terrifying as Trump's actual presidency, but we'll give Trump that. He got rid of two family dynasties. There's some other things I like about Trump. I think he's a funny dude. No, I can't Family Feud it. Gotta give everyone an opportunity. And what I love about America, there's a few things. The people, the land, yada, yada, yada. Some of the people, most of the land. But I am going to go with one of my favorite things in the world, national parks. America's national park system is awesome. Can't be beat. I'm going to be going to Yosemite soon. I'm super excited, but it doesn't matter. There's national parks, most of them are on the West Coast. Who am I kidding? There's one in Maine. There's a few in other places, but even Gettysburg and all these beautiful national monument places, they're gorgeous. And the national parks are well kept. So there you have it. Those are the things I like. I'm going to check my phone. I have the interactive map on. We'll see our results. Election results. Oh, Vermont went to Joe Biden. Who would have thunk it? As did Kentucky. I just hope one day, because Kentucky's the first one announced, I would love for Kentucky to be too close to call. That would be like the night Republicans would start jumping off of bridges. They'd be like, oh no, if Kentucky's too close to call, we're in trouble. I know recently Trump was winning in Florida. That seems to be holding. Texas. That Texas is close. Wow. Biden leading. That's shocking. That is very, very shocking. But I don't think nothing is being called. I mean, I know Fox News is calling everything because that's what they do. But I know in my projections, I thought Florida was going to go to Trump, Georgia, I thought North Carolina, Ohio, Iowa, Wisconsin. I know everyone's saying Wisconsin is not going to go to Trump. I drove cross country recently, and in Wisconsin, I did not see one Joe Biden sign. And I drove mostly through rural Wisconsin, granted, but we did go to Madison, which is home to the Badgers, which is a college town. You should see at least a couple Joe Biden signs, all Trump signs, all Black Lives Matter signs. It was all very progressive, or it was Trump. And progressives, especially in Wisconsin, since they threw out the Green Party as an option, I protest vote. I don't see progressives ever voting for Trump, but I see them probably staying home, maybe even voting for Jorgensen. My voice is still low. Maybe I just have a low voice. My wife doesn't appreciate it. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I'm giving Wisconsin to Trump. Arizona, people are saying Arizona's going to go to Biden. I believe that when I see it. I've never seen it. I've never seen Arizona go blue. So I'm not gonna. That'd be a change. I mean, the real change is Texas. If Texas goes blue, my gosh, I mean, how would the Republican Party ever bounce back from that? I mean, it's their largest, their biggest state. I mean, between California, Texas, and New York, oh my God, like I don't see how a Republican could ever win again. I mean, Florida is your big state, and that's still a toss-up. I mean, it's close enough where Republicans have to campaign there. Well, we will see. We will see. The big props tonight, I'm hoping the Uber one gets shot down in California. Gig workers should be able to unionize, so vote no on 22. Although I think you can still vote in California. Yes, it's 6:30. So go vote if you haven't voted yet. Or not. Whatever. It doesn't affect my life. My vote, I voted. So whatevs. Do what you like. Do as you feel. I'm actually curious about Prop 24. It's one that no newspaper would endorse or not vote against. Everyone was confused with it, but data as a I want to get cash money for my data. Oh my gosh, look at you going to California National Party all day. Or my gosh, you spend a lot of time on Twitter. Bill Skog _Bill, I believe, on Twitter. I'm not blue check mark. I don't care what my Twitter is. You can find me. You can Google me. Yeah, I want to get cash money for my data, though. It's all going to go to AI. It's going to go to Skynet, which is going to replace us all. So may as well get a little money in the meantime. A little cash money in the meantime. Yeah, so no big results yet. No one's calling anything. It's going to be interesting to see when Trump calls it. He's going to do the Pete Buttigieg where he just calls it and hope it sticks. And I think deep down, I think the biggest case that I would give to anyone why they should join the California National Party is people, when they're talking about the election, they're talking about the results. If the ballots are all counted, who wins and who's going to win the election. I, for one, think that Donald Trump is going to steal this election somehow. He is going to get some votes not counted. He's going to just have state delegates that are going to just pick Trump delegates. So that's how bad things are. I can't. First time in my life, I know that every election has little miscountings and there's levels of where you shouldn't trust it 100%, but within the margin of error. This one, I don't know. Trump might declare victory in every state, just throw out certain votes. I don't know. But there's such a level of distrust, uncertainty as to who's going to be president and who should be president. So yeah, those are things to think about. Oh, I'm already tired. Oh my gosh. The election. Oh, when it's over, when you know who is going to be president and who's going to control the House and who's going to control the Senate, I want to take at least a week and not think about politics. I know that's going to say, That's when the fight truly begins, is after the election. And that's true, but I need 2 weeks. I need to not go on. The only news I want to hear after this election is the NBA mock draft and trade rumors and Game of Thrones prequel stuff. I want to know what the situation from the Jersey Shore is up to. Like, I might watch Teen Mom again. I just need a week where I can just fart and be happy and not worry about this damned election. I started, almost 2 years ago, volunteering for Andrew Yang's campaign in the primary. And it's just been full tilt. I went from there straight to the California National Party. My God, if Trump wins, oh my gosh, there's going to be so much recruiting to do, which is a good thing. But it'll be a lot of work for old Billigans here. And I just want like a week of like drafting my own John Madden football team and playing a season. It's been rough for me as a Patriots fan, although I support California independence. I'm very much aligned with the New England independence movement when it comes to professional sporting teams. Go Sox, go Celtics, go Bruins, go Patriots, even a go Carolina Hurricanes. You were once the Hartford Whalers. You're all right in my book. And yeah, my gosh. Yeah, so if you're watching this, and you're like in New England, check out the New England independence movement. Hopefully in a little bit, we're going to get some people from Cascadia on. They're having like this mega party with like 500 people, which is outrageous. The Cascadia bioregional movement, they got some good stuff going on. I don't know if also we get T from the Decent Federal Project. He's going to be coming on. We had him on as a guest as a Free the Bear podcast. He also did one with New Progressive Voice, Joshua. He's my favorite YouTube channel for progressive policy and talk. Not my favorite YouTube channel. I mean, I like the guy from Japan who makes the knives out of everything. I love that. I love Chef John with foodwishes.com, but we digress. Let's focus. It's election night. So hopefully those people will be coming on in a bit and get their insights. I haven't started drinking yet, but anyone who does come on and participate, I fully endorse drinking. I know I'll be drinking some good California wine, some Sassoon Valley wine, GV Cellars, actually Green Valley. I have 2 little wine countries in my neck of the woods, right next to beautiful Napa and Sonoma. It'll be interesting. Speaking of like agriculture, I mean, California is going to go Biden, so it doesn't matter, but super interested. I mean, they say Iowa's going to go to Trump. Wisconsin's super interesting because China, when Trump put on his Chinese tariffs, China went like targeted Wisconsin. They're like Harley Davidson, so we're gonna get a tariff there. And the other thing they did, this is super, I think, interesting in my humble, low voice macho opinion. Wisconsin, not only a place to get your cheese curds, it's a place to get your ginseng. That's right, your ginseng. Apparently, like in China, executives, when they give gifts to other executives as they make mega companies, they'll give Wisconsin ginseng as a gift. And ginseng takes, I believe, 9 years to develop, to grow, and to get it all hoobly-doobly. So I'm just thinking of all these like Wisconsin farmers who've put almost a decade of work into a product that's going to be very lucrative for them, and then to have it taken away. That, to me, is I would be a little ticked off if I spent all that money. I remember when that happened, I was like, oh, I got to get some money. I want to get in on that ginseng. Well, get it while it's cheap. But ginseng, caffeine, all those things give me the jitters. Mm-hmm. So I don't use them. I like to keep it slow and mellow. So I'm going to check my interactive phone. Let's see if we have any election results. I wanted to have that instead. Oh my gosh, Joe Biden has won Massachusetts and Connecticut and New York. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my gosh. North and South Dakota went to Trump. That is not surprising. I drove through South Dakota. 2 Donald Trump stores I saw within 30 minutes. Stores where you could buy stuff for Donald Trump. Oh my gosh. How disappointed would you be for Christmas or the holidays, Christmas, holidays, whatever, if you got a Donald Trump gift and he didn't even win? That would be so discouraging. And South Dakota, very beautiful. I know Mount Rushmore. I know our vice president, Theo, made a comment when I took a picture of Mount Rushmore. Look at all those awful presidents. And they sure are awful. I get it. I mean, compared to our times. But Mount Rushmore, very beautiful, as was South Dakota. I'm not going to lie. It was funny. We drove through due to the fires. Oh, gosh, I don't know. My wife just got a mess. Just in. Oh, I already did that, though. Let's see. More. Look at that. We're recording now. Hopefully Forbes will come on soon. So it'll be even more formal. So that half hour of history, or that 20 minutes of history, it's gone. It'll never be seen again. It's exclusive. You got it with me. You got to hear that caffeine gives me the jitters and so forth. No, it was funny. So when the fires came, California fires, the LNU Lightning Complex, whatever, I forget its name, but that happened literally 2 miles from my house. So we decided to skedaddle. We decided to pack up and go to New Hampshire and then Vermont. That's where my family is. We had a free place to stay. Everyone was my wife was doing her work virtually. My kids were doing school virtually. It made sense. We didn't know what was going to happen. So we packed up. So first time we go through Iowa. We took Highway 80 the whole way, nothing overly fancy. And then when we got to New England, Iowa, hot spot for COVID. Like, oh no, what are we going to do? So on our way back, we skipped Iowa because when we did the math, no matter what, we were going to have to spend the night in Iowa. And I hated Nebraska. Driving through Nebraska was really depressing. I think people in Nebraska should get a tax break for living there. Chain stores and corn. It's all there was. And so we avoided Iowa. That's the important thing. Not that Nebraska was awful, although it was. On the way back, we're going to avoid Iowa because we don't want to spend the night there. So we went up rural Illinois, Wisconsin, Madison. Had an excellent hamburger in Madison. Very nice. Hamburger America, one of my favorite table reading books, a book about regional hamburgers. Get it? It's deliciously good. We picked a joint from Madison. We went there, drove through Minnesota, which was beautiful. Rural Minnesota, a lot of Trump signs. A lot of Trump signs. Minnesota was beautiful. And then we went through South Dakota, which ended up being the other COVID hotspot. It was literally where we drove, and it wasn't us. I at least hope not. I mean, we wear masks everywhere we go. I'm surprised I'm not even wearing a mask now. COVID. Though, my mom calls it COVID. And every time I try to say COVID, she still calls it COVID. I don't know what to do. It's very, very frustrating. Florida is looking like it's going to go to Trump. I think I suspected that. We got at least one QAnon congressperson. How sad is it in America that we're going to have more QAnon Congress people than Libertarian or Green Party? I don't care which one. I'd be thrilled if there was 5 hardcore Libertarians and 5 hardcore Green Party. That'd be great for Congress. It'd be great. Imagine if we lived in a world where AOC was just a typical Democrat. And then you had Greens and Libertarians get stuff actually done. That's not going to happen. We got 2 QAnons, which is frustrating, I think is the word I would like to use. Frustrating. They believe that the Democrats eat babies, or at least they eat their some gland, and it gives them youth, which I thought I would like. One of my favorite movies of all time is Ravenous, where they talk about Wendigo, where you eat the flesh of a man, you gain their power, but you get a craving for it. So I swear that they're just copying the movie Ravenous, which I appreciate. I always joke with my friends that there is some dude, call me sexist, but it's definitely a dude who created QAnon, and he is having a hoot with all that he's done. He's just making ridiculous story after ridiculous story, and people are buying it. Won't buy the science of COVID or that the earth is round, but JFK Jr. attends Trump rallies. Very odd. Yeah, we got two QAnons. Mitch McConnell, like I said, he's been declared the winner, which makes sense. Why would you in Kentucky vote for someone who's somewhat better than Mitch McConnell when you're going to lose all that power that he represents? I remember volunteering with the Yang campaign. We got a ton of people from Kentucky, and they're talking about, how $1,000 a month in Kentucky, and when they're talking families, when two adults are getting it, how life-changing that would be. And sure would have been. You're not going to get that with Joe Biden. You're definitely not going to get that with Donald Trump. You're definitely not going to get that with Nancy Pelosi. And you're definitely not going to get that with Mitch McConnell. So you're not going to get it. You're not going to get cash relief. Another thing I'm going to definitely want to talk to with people tonight about, if there had been no COVID, how easily would Donald Trump have won? I think he would have. It's funny. Both parties talk about the importance of the stock market and GDP. And that's what they base how successful they're doing. But that really doesn't help the common people. Even Trump said that in 2016. He called out those numbers. Of course, he's using them now to tout how well he was doing with his economy. But yeah, he would have won. Trump really screwed the pooch when it came to COVID, as it's called. I think, in my humble opinion, there are times for innovation on state levels, for states' rights. I am a member of the California National Party, so obviously I believe in states' rights. But, there's also a time for a strong federal response. COVID was a time for the latter. COVID, as far as I know, I haven't read enough studies, but I believe that they do not respect borders. It does not stop at one state and say, well, no, we're not going to Nebraska. We're going to stay here in Iowa. Doesn't happen. Does not happen. People spread viruses. It should have been a strong federal response. Excuse me, got COVID. No, I don't. Dry voice. I should have brought a drink with me. I had to move out from my room, my personal room of fun, to the living room or to the kitchen because the lighting is good. Before I looked like a 1970s sci-fi movie vision, and it would have been cool for a second, but not. It would not have been good for the next. Oh my God, this election's gonna go on for another like 5 hours. Another 5 hours. So yeah, should have had a strong federal response of wear masks, stupid, close down businesses. It should have been, done way earlier. Direct cash relief. I mean, the highest approval rating Trump had was in March. What happened in March? Oh, everyone got $1,200, or mostly everybody. Enough people like, hey, this is a great idea. This is a great, great, great idea. I can't work. It's not my fault. Give me some money. And the irony is that money got spent right back into big corporations. I don't get why so many of the evil politicians were against it, because that money was going to go to Amazon and Safeway or Rayleigh's or Trader Joe's, wherever. Maybe the occasional In-N-Out burger, which in California, I don't get why we like In-N-Out burger. I think it's mediocre at best. You have Five Guys, much superior product. Heck, I can't even believe I'm going to say this. I might get kicked out of California. I'll take a flame broiled from Burger King over In-N-Out. I said it. In-N-Out's French fries are disgusting. They're absolutely gross. I'll take Wendy's fries over them any day. There's a great joke once about In-N-Out fries. Someone says, "So are they overcooked or undercooked?" And the guy responds, "Yes." It's amazing because you can get such a wide variety of awful French fries in one bag of In-N-Out. Do make a good strawberry shake. They do. Won't lie. But yeah, so I just lost my California card. But yeah, the money would have went directly to people, and it would have went back in the economy. It would have just kept things circulating. We wouldn't have lost as many jobs, stress levels. I think Trump could have even survived George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Sad as it is, I think he could have survived that if he had handled COVID better. If he had handled COVID better, I think he wins pretty easy. Who knows? He may still win. If he wins, I mean, my gosh. I was half joking with my wife tonight that let's just outlaw abortion and then move forward, because there's a group of people in this country who are not going to stop until abortion is illegal, and they will vote for monsters to get it done. Even though the vast majority of the country is pro-choice, the pro-life people are relentless. They're not going to stop. Half joking, because I know as soon as if the abortion did get outlawed, they would just move on to something else. Like these people are not stupid. They know they got a cash cow. They can raise money off of fundamental Christians. There is a great article. I'll post it on my Twitter. I might have already done it. Maybe I'll repost it though, about how the far right, the Christian right, has influenced this country. There's actually, was it Senator DeMint, who doesn't think gay men should be able to teach in public schools, or that pregnant single mothers should be able to teach in schools. After abortion and gay rights, they're going to take away your swear words. They're going to get rid of your HBO. They're going to get rid of your beer, your football on Sundays. So it's time to take a stand like Hulk Hogan. I don't know. It's frustrating. But yeah, if Trump wins, it'll be the religious right. And everyone's talking about the Latino vote. Let's face it, most of that Latino vote is pro-choice, is pro-life. They're voting on abortion. So we'll see. I don't know. I think everyone tonight, I think a lot of pundits were just crazy to think that Biden was going to blow Trump out. That it was going to be him winning everywhere convincingly. Just, it never happens. I mean, when was the last blowout election? HW versus the caucus, I guess. Even Dole Clinton was relatively close. Excuse me. Carter, Reagan Mondale. It's been a long time. All these elections since W. Bush have been really close. Even Obama's victory over McCain and his victory over Romney were still really close. So we will see. We will see. Let me check our election coverage. Let's see. This just in. You need 270 electoral votes. Biden up 89 to 72. Of course, this means nothing. It is all going to come down to swing states. Oh, swing states. Basically, I grew up in New Hampshire, so I'd say I'm pretty good when it comes to New Hampshire politics. It comes down to New Hampshire. All the people from Massachusetts who moved to New Hampshire because it's cheap versus people in northern New Hampshire. That's what it really comes down to. It's like all the native New England, New Hampshire, Granite Staters tend to vote, majority-wise, will vote Republican. And then it's really that like Manchester, New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire crowd that, you know, drive into the city, drive into Boston. You know, in Pennsylvania, it's like Philly and Pittsburgh versus the rest of the state, other than maybe like where was University of Pennsylvania, what's his name, College Station. There's a few pockets, but even like places like Scranton tend to go Republican. Went Trump last time, they probably will again. Remember driving through rural Pennsylvania, a lot of Trump signs. In fact, I drove cross country. Trump first place, Bernie Sanders second. Tulsi Gabbard had more signs than Joe Biden when I drove cross country. Think about that. That's crazy. I get it, though. If I had a big, giant picture of Tulsi Gabbard, I would post it on the highway so everyone could see it. Rawr. Love Tulsi. Overcoming with the spirit of aloha. Overcome with the spirit of aloha. Yeah, Pennsylvania, like it's the rural versus the city. Same with Ohio, but Ohio cities are shrinking. You know, jobs are going away. Ohio still has a good farmland, so you're still going to have those rural voters. Florida was disappointing. I lived in Florida, and there was always a joke if you lived in Miami that to get to or even Orlando. I lived in the Orlando area. Worked for Mickey Mouse. Oh boy! To get to the South, you had to go north. There are some pockets of where it's like New Englanders who couldn't afford New England and they moved to Florida or retired to Florida. But Florida is the South. Make no mistake about it. They saved their Confederate currency for the South shall rise again. And it's a very religious Latino communities too. I think people underestimated in 2016 the talk about, Trump, the things he said about Mexicans. You know, the Latino community is a very large community. It's not just Mexicans. A lot of Cubans don't like Mexicans necessarily. I know if you work in boxing, like you can always make money on a fight between a Mexican fighter and a Puerto Rican fighter. You know, if you want that Puerto Rican fighter to win, put him in Florida, have him beat up a Mexican, you'll sell tickets. So yeah, like Trump doing well, the Latino vote in Florida is not shocking to me. I think some of the other swing states, Colorado though, New Hampshire, I think actually might go bigger to Biden than some other solidly blue states. But I think Colorado has already been called for Biden. I remember when that used to be a swing state. It isn't anymore. It'll be interesting. I would be quite confident if I were Joe Biden in the fact that Nevada is going to go for Joe. Las Vegas makes up so much of the population, and urban areas are going to vote for Democrat. It's just the way it is. I think any other state they'll be really close that people aren't talking about. I thought for the longest time Oregon was going to go to Trump. My assumption was that the progressives weren't going to vote for Biden. Enough alt-right people, it's a growing population, they'd vote. Low voter turnout, but that was crazy. That was the alcohol or drugs talking. That was the alcohol talking. But yeah, we'll see. Like, I'm shocked. The thing I am most surprised about is how competitive North Carolina has been. The fact that they called Colorado so early is surprising. Oh my gosh, Trump has won South Carolina and Alabama. Wow. Did not see that coming. I love one of my favorite arguments is when people go, you know, Lincoln was a Republican and the Democrats were the Confederates. And then you look at the map of the Confederacy, and you just happen to notice that it votes for the Republicans every time. It's almost like the parties kind of switched. Almost like that happened. Look it up on your Wikipedia or a book. That actually happened. So I love that argument. People are like, oh, the real Confederates are the Democrats. Like, really? Really? Like, Bernie Sanders strikes you as a son of Robert E. Lee, a Stonewall Jackson fan? No. The Republicans are the Confederate Party. When you look at a Trump rally and you have Confederate flags. Like, you notice that I didn't see any Confederate flags at Joe Biden rallies, although I never saw a Joe Biden rally. But during the primaries, didn't see many Confederate flags. I know back in the 90s, there was a bunch for Clinton, like Confederates for Clinton, which I think really kind of shows the Clinton legacy, that maybe he wasn't that much of a Democrat. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? It's election night. Everybody be happy. It's election night. I'm just moving some stuff here. No, technology is too hard. I just keep talking. I thought Forbes was going to be here at 6:30. We'll give him a good stern talking. Give him a stern talking. Look at that. Like, hey, Forbes, you stupid jerk. Left your co-host hanging. Kind of like in Top Gun where Maverick left the Iceman to fight all the people by himself. He did. Aaron gave Maverick the credit. He cowardly fled and then came back. Iceman was there fighting all those Russians, or I forget what the country. They didn't say it was the Soviet Union because they couldn't. It was like during the 80s. It was kind of like how in Predator there was a made-up South American or Central American country where they went in and attacked. So the same thing. It was like Turkmenistan. And Maverick and the Iceman were fighting, but the Iceman should have got the credit. That's my opinion. He was up there fighting all by himself. That's me. I'm the Iceman. Forbes is gonna come in all Maverick, like, hey, how's it going? I like socialism. I'm Forbes. Gosh, can only imagine being on the East Coast and how frustrating it's got to be. Another reason I support independence, like, I don't think you should be in the same country where it's like multiple time zones away. It should just be a rule. It's not even bioregionalism. It's just timeism. I will admit, though, it is fun to watch football games at 10 in the morning. The Super Bowl, be able to go to sleep at a reasonable hour. But, like, it is 10 o'clock on the East Coast right now. It's time for people to go to sleep, get ready for work or whatever they're going to do. The next day, kids are going to sleep. Nothing has been resolved. I will say I do like the early voting and being able to vote by mail. I hope that becomes more popular. Other idea, let's make this day a national holiday. Get much better voter turnout. You have the day off. Feel bad for a person who's go work a 9-to-5 job and then like has to get stuck in a line to vote. That sucks. That shouldn't be. Voting should be easy. Easy peasy. In fact, like, you shouldn't even have to register to vote. You're alive. Drop of blood. No drop of blood. But still, should be super easy to vote. I mentioned before, super excited about ranked choice voting. I'm pretty sure Massachusetts will pass it. Maine already has it. Maine leading the way in election reform. You have your not absolute voter goes to the electoral college. Like, if you get the majority, you don't get everyone. You have to win districts. And ranked choice voting. Maine leading the way in lobster. Good Maine accent. Oh no, it's my Maine. I lost my Maine accent since I've left New Hampshire. But they lead the way in lobster, whoopie pies, and electoral reform. Our great Governor Gavin Newsom, he actually vetoed ranked choice voting, which makes sense for him. Makes sense because California is a one-party system. Oh, this just in. The founder of the California National Party is about to enter the chat. Let's see. Look at that. His name is Theo, and he dances on the sand. How's it? Oh, Theo is connecting to the audio. How's it going? Can you hear me, Theo? I see your face. Dun, dun, dun. Hello, Theo. Can you see me? All right, we got to wave. Did I unmute you? That's the question. Let's see. Oh, there you are. Can you hear me? Let's get your voice. Uh-oh. We can get the audio. How are you doing tonight, Theo? Oh, I am not hearing you. Of course, I'm having technical problems. This is the worst broadcast ever. How are people going to get all the hot takes about what's happening in this country and in this state? What about now? Let's hear it. You come in very quiet, and that's not you.
Let's try this.
You there?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I can't.
Oh,
all right.
Well, there we are. So what?
All right. Perfect. So,
what have been the big surprises for you tonight, or have there been any surprises?
Well, I think my assumption that America is a dumpster fire descending into fascism and disaster has been heartily confirmed. The fact that tens of millions of Americans have already voted for this absurd buffoon who is, catches diseases he doesn't even believe in. Somewhat predictable, really, but disappointing nonetheless.
Yeah, I get why the top 1% votes for him. I get that. If you're a billionaire who wants to keep your money and live in a gated house with a bunker, and you have a helicopter that can go, and you can go visit another rich person's, compound, I get voting for Trump. But for everybody else, I don't understand why.
Yeah, well, honestly, Biden and Trump will split the billionaire vote because Biden's been fighting hard for the 1% his entire political career. So
sure has.
He always fights for the creditors over the debtors because that's who runs Delaware, our creditors.
Sure do. It's
So I don't know. I mean, whatever.
I think a good metaphor or a good big picture for tonight was Mitch McConnell defeating Amy McGrath. Why would Kentucky give up Mitch McConnell for all of his evil? At least he's a very powerful senator.
Sure.
Why would you give that up for Amy McGrath, who is basically a Republican anyways?
Yeah, well, they chose not to. I think being a Democrat in Kentucky is almost as poisonous as being a Republican in California.
Yeah, but if you're going to lose to Mitch McConnell in Kentucky, go big.
Right.
Go for a progressive and see if you can, even if you don't win, move the conversation somewhat to the left.
But honestly, a liberal in California would be called the communist in Kentucky. It's a political system that's so far to the right that we can barely imagine it. So
I'll tell you what's disappointing. There is a preconceived notion where people in Florida think that they're not a red hillbilly state.
Right.
Florida, you are a red hillbilly state with a couple sections of New England and New York transplants that they're landowners in a cheap Florida.
Yeah, well, I think everyone north of Miami is pretty much southern Alabama, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, there's always a big joke. I lived in Orlando for 7 years, the Orlando area, and once you left Disney World, you were in the South. I remember I used to teach chess. I've taught chess in Florida and California. the high school championship, the one of those like did in Florida, I was like the tournament director. I helped out. The person who won the high school championship would have lost to half of the kindergartners I teach in California. And that might be, call me an elitist, but, you know, those are the facts.
Yeah.
You know, these, it's how, I mean, you know, the other thing, I think anyone can become a pollster now, because these polls are just way off.
Well, I do think that a substantial percentage of Trump supporters are ashamed in the same way that like racist people used to be ashamed that they were racist across the US. I think there are some Trump supporters who just don't want to admit to pollsters that they support Trump. And I think that's what throws off these polls. And it doesn't have to be that many people to throw off a poll in a substantial way, to get it out of from like the range of what do they call it with polls?
Margin of error.
Margin of
MOE.
error. Yeah. Get it out. So if like 3% of the people pretend they don't like Trump, but they actually do, you're like doubling the margin of error.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is people on the phone, like, who are you going to vote for? I'll vote for Biden. A lot of those people might just not go and vote because no one is excited to vote for Joe Biden.
No.
People are excited to vote against Donald Trump or to vote for Donald Trump. But Joe Biden could be a watermelon or a scarecrow, a glass of water.
Yeah, he's basically a box with a D painted on it. Like, that's it. That's all he is.
He certainly also didn't. It was interesting, Biden's strategy of just running a prevent defense this whole campaign, of keeping him in a basement, you know, just super easy softball interviews.
Well, you know, it worked so well for Clinton. No wonder they tried it again.
I mean, I obviously was a Yang guy, but like, I'll be realistic. Bernie Sanders was the progressive who was most likely to win the Democratic primary. I can only imagine.
Well, I think the big difference is that there are people who love Bernie Sanders. And I don't know if Biden's wife loves Biden. You know, like he's just this gray, sort of boring guy who's been at this kind of a centrist for decades. I mean, I want him to win, but not, you know, he's not because of who he is, but because of who he isn't.
And I think you said at the beginning that this election is really a referendum on Trump. And if he wins, that, I mean, it's good business for us. I'll be honest, like I'm expecting if Trump wins, like, you know, a lot of people are going to wake up to the fact that America is doomed.
Right. That is definitely true. And a lot of Californians will in particular. And I think that it's kind of the perfect moment for our movement because we've experienced something like the wrath of climate change. And we're ahead of the curve in that sense because we're on fire every summer. And so I think that Californians will wake up in the days and weeks ahead, especially if Trump wins, and really understand that like the status quo is broken and will never recover. And they need solutions outside of the solutions they've known in the past.
And I look at it in our party platform that our military budget will never be more than 2% of the gross domestic product of our state. Right now, the U.S. military budget is 3.8. Imagine all that extra money that we could spend on California.
And right now, we spend $80 billion a year on the U.S. war machine. And just imagine, so Mexico spends $7 billion on its entire military. So we could double that and still spend $66 billion that right now is being wasted on guns and bombs to murder people on the far side of the world on whatever our priorities are. Universal basic income, free healthcare, free college. $66 billion is some pretty substantial seed money. And we still have double the defense spending of any nation we border, except for America.
Absolutely. And, the other thing with the military, modern warfare is going to be cybersecurity. It's going to be hackers. It's going to be like fighter drones. It's going to be like, I don't know if you're a Simpsons fan, but one of my favorite episodes was when the Simpsons, Bart and Lisa, went to military school, and the commencement speaker was like, the wars of the future will be fought on mountaintops with robots, and your job is to maintain those robots. And that's really where the military is going to be. So to sound morbid, like a lot of that technology that gets developed for that has civilian purposes too. If you're cybersecurity or robotics or things like that. So yeah, gosh, that military budget is really what I tell people, because people always are like, oh, California for the first time is a donor state. I'm like, well, we did have to deal with some fires with climate change, those things, and being overtaxed for decades. These things do tend to wear on Californians. But yeah, this whole election, how can it not reaffirm what we believe? And and I was even saying, like, half of the population at the end of this is still going to be distraught, stressed out.
Right.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, no. Yeah, any empire where half the people are in near open revolt, no matter who their king is, that's not an empire long for the world. And whoever wins tonight, tens of millions of people, maybe even 100 million people, are going to be enraged. So, I say tonight, we probably won't know who wins for a week. But, it's just an untenable situation.
Yeah, and it's looking very Trump. Biden has to win. The way it's looking at, he's got to have to win Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania, at least one of those.
Well, I think it's going to come down to Pennsylvania. That's what I think it's going to be all about, Pennsylvania. That's where he's closest in the polls. I think he's going to win Arizona, Texas, Georgia, all the places. I think he's going to win Florida. I think if Trump loses Florida, that's pretty much it. But I think he's going to win it. He's even got home state advantage there. So.
Yeah, Florida. Arizona, I think, is going to go to Trump. I'll prove me. I know everyone's saying it's not, but I've never seen Arizona go blue in my life. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Any state where the Republicans control the governorship and the legislature that tends to be a Republican state is going to go Republican, because they're going to voter suppress and rig. They're going to do whatever it takes. We're talking about it's a cornered animal. The GOP is a cornered animal in a lot of these states, and if they lose, the demographics are against them, so they will never be able to get back to victory again. So for them, it's win or die.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it is something I always talk about when I'm trying to recruit people, and it's confirmed now. The Republicans, after this election, no matter what, are going to have one branch of government for probably the rest of my life, and that's the Supreme Court. That's gone. There will not.
You can always grow the Supreme Court, right? Like you could stack it, but I don't think
we'll go back.
I don't think the Democrats have that kind of will.
They don't, and then it just becomes a race where we'll end up having hundreds of Supreme Court justices, and it'll be I think term limit. There's so many things. The Supreme Court frustrates me. I think our whole judicial system. I know you're a lawyer. You probably hate it more than I do, but
it's been better than one would think it would be for so far. But at this point, watching a 6-3 conservative majority eviscerate the freedoms and rights that we're familiar with, it's going to be a painful process. This doesn't.
Well, and the obvious ones people talk about are abortion and gay rights, which are important things. But if anyone ever thinks that they're going to get a single payer system where they're going to outlaw private insurance with this Supreme Court, out of their mind, I think.
Yeah, you don't have to outlaw private insurance. I mean, you can always have supplemental insurance layered over single payer healthcare. And I think there's a chance, but the problem is Biden doesn't want universal single payer healthcare. I mean, the Democratic establishment doesn't want universal single payer healthcare.
No, I mean, I was talking to my dad today. He's in New Hampshire. It's funny. He's a Republican. He voted for W twice happily, voted against Obama twice happily, has not voted for Trump either time. And he was talking, and he's like, you know what? If Biden can get rural broadband and fix the highways systems and the bridges, he's like, I'll be the happiest person ever. And I was like, yeah, that I think is really at best what you could expect from Biden is maybe rural broadband and infrastructure.
Infrastructure, yes. I don't think you're going to see rural broadband. I think that Comcast has probably given Biden enough money that internet is going to be as pathetically, shamefully bad in America as it's always been.
Why don't Republicans support rural broadband? That shocks me. That helps their base in particular.
Yes, but Comcast talks. The thing is, America isn't really even a republic. It's an oligarchy. And the huge corporations that feed on the poor fund both of the major parties, and they don't care who wins. And the people in the major parties really need that money. So, I would bet that more than half of the Congress people and senators are in the pockets of just Comcast. If you look at, Knoxville, I think it was Chattanooga, Tennessee, has municipal broadband. It has one of the fastest broadband rates in the entire U.S. and at low cost. And after they did that, the cable company lobbied the Capitol in D.C. and made municipal broadband illegal. So that's really what we're talking about. And neither party, both parties are in the pockets of these corporations. I think what's most frustrating to me about presidential election is that we see so much passion there going into this struggle that no matter who wins, Comcast wins.
They sure do. No, it's shocking, that there's so many, like you can talk, like my dad, Republican, rural, he's a deer hunter. He's a country bumpkin, served in Vietnam. Like a lot of the stereotypes that you'd have of a Republican, he's pro-choice. He supports gay rights, but strong military, this and that. And there's so many things that he would agree on that should be socialized, that should be a public utility. He hates that he has horrible internet.
Sure.
When we fled California, went to New England for a couple weeks during the fires, my wife couldn't do any of her virtual meetings. My daughter couldn't take her virtual classes. It was embarrassingly slow. It's a real different way of life where something I can download in 2 minutes would take my dad 8 hours.
Right.
It's not an exaggeration. And that's
right.
It's very frustrating. It's bad for business. It's good for a few businesses
today. It doesn't matter what Americans want. It matters what corporate CEOs want. It matters what billionaires want. What people off in the woods want, nobody cares. What most Americans want, nobody cares. It's a system where 1% get whatever they want and 99% have to put up with what they get.
There was a great Onion headline, and I hate that over the years the Onion has become a real news source. It has become more than silliness. Or voters hire high-powered lobbyists for Congress. Oh, and we lost Theo. Oh,
no, I'm back. I'm here.
There we are. But people should hire a lobbyist to represent their needs in Congress. And I was like, yeah, that's sad but true. That really should be that should be our congressperson. But no, like even my Democratic congressman, like I actually voted for a Trump supporting Republican for Congress, and I'll give you my reason. I sent I sent an email, I sent a voicemail, a tweet, Facebook. I wanted to know if my congressman supported a second round of stimulus checks. I did not get a response from a staff member or anything. And I was like, okay, this guy is completely out of touch. I know that he's going to win again, but I would love for him to win 56% instead of like 67%. I would love to just give him that. Oh, that was a little closer than I wanted it to be.
Right. And you raised a really good point, too, about the problem of California as a single party state. I tend to favor the Democrats over the Republicans, but when you get into a situation like we have in California where only one party matters, there's going to be inevitable corruption. There's going to be inevitable there's a patronage network that becomes totally disconnected from the needs of the citizenry, because it's whenever a single party is in power for a very long time, anywhere in the world, it's inevitable. So, I mean, I think one of the most important parts of our California National Party project is to create a viable second party. Because the GOP will never recover in California. Like, that's hopeless. They become a fascist party. And California is a very diverse place. So, like, that's a hopeless thing. And I don't want them to be competitive because they're terrible. But we need somebody to be competitive. And so I think that's really one of the most important aspects of our mission is just to create a viable alternative for people who want an open, inclusive California, who care about their rights, who care about universal health care and all these other things that a lot of Democrats also want. But we don't have that problem of one party in power forever.
No, and I always get the argument when people learn that for California independence, like, oh, look at California. Like, what have you guys really done? And it's like, listen, I'm not here to defend the Democratic Party. I think, I hope the biggest lesson learned from this election cycle is there's a difference between being a progressive and being a liberal.
Yes.
Like, I want that to be, Joe Biden is not a socialist.
No.
He is not a progressive. He is.
No.
I had a challenge. I'll give this to you after, but I had a challenge tonight to name something nice about Trump, something nice about Biden, and something nice about America.
Okay.
With Trump, I said he single-handedly took out the Bush and Clinton dynasties, which is a great thing. I said for America, I love national parks. Like, I love Yosemite and Muir Woods and things like that. I like, I can live with that. And for Joe Biden, I had to look long and hard for like a good policy of his. Universal pre-K.
All right, cool.
Okay, that's good. Great. You have one good policy. Congratulations. Much luck may it bring you. But I can find in every one of his policies, I can find a Republican that's further left.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, Biden is a moderate Republican. The Republican Party has become fascist, but honestly, Joe Biden is basically with Jeb Bush. They would be interchangeable.
Absolutely.
If I was going to say one thing nice about them, for Trump, I would say he normalized men wearing makeup, which I think is a good thing. For Biden, he's not Trump. And for America, man, that's hard.
Do you like baseball, college football?
Women's soccer.
Okay, amazing. There you go.
Amazing. Good job, America. You did it.
It's funny. I can break down America. Like, I could say, like, I love music from the South, or I could say, like, I like food from a specific region. But when you put it all together,
that's true. Music from the South, food from the South. Sure.
I mean, I won't argue. I've always wanted to go to a horse race, drinking a mint julep.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
it's have my moment, but yeah,
Derby Day.
Yes. But yeah, I'm good with just being a Californian after tonight. Like, once this election is over, it's time to focus on the props,
and I think a lot of Californians are right there with you. And it's also just incredible. I mean, the level of ineptitude that the Democratic Party is showing in that, you know, we've got a president who is clearly mentally disturbed, who has presided over a terrible recession in concert with a horrific pandemic that has killed, you know, almost 300,000 Americans and counting, that he has done nothing about. And it's like this squeaker thing where maybe Joe Biden can win. And it's just like, what level of ineptitude is required that someone this stupid and crazy can like maybe be edged out barely or will win? I mean, like, it always feels like the Republicans are these battle-hardened, it's like this battle-hardened gladiator with a sword longer than I am, and the Democrats send in some nerd with a fork. And we're just like, what is going on here? Like, these are the most useless allies I can possibly imagine.
And I'm just talking electability here. I'm not talking their issues. There were so many other candidates in the primaries who were moderates.
Yes.
Like, Pete Buttigieg is not my favorite candidate in the world. But my God, he would be putting it on Trump big time now.
Pete could give whole speeches without tripping over his own tongue. He knew where he was 100% of the time. I feel like Joe Biden knows where he is 80% of the time. Like he's just barely holding on. And like any of them would have been better than Joe Biden. Like, how did the Democrats choose their worst, weakest candidate? Because, I only liked like 3 of the Democratic candidates. I liked Yang, I liked Warren, I liked Sanders, right? Any 3 of them would have been fantastic. I would have been over the moon, would have been super exciting. I might have phone banked. I hate phone banking. But even Kamala, Pete, any of them.
Yeah.
Good at giving speeches, good at debating. Like, Biden is just this like grumpy old creepy dude. Like, why are we running a grumpy old creepy dude against a crazy old creepy dude? Like, why?
The career politician. Yeah, it was. You couldn't have designed a worse matchup. I mean, maybe Bloomberg. Maybe at least
Bloomberg would have been as bad, except Bloomberg has a certain smoothness to him. Bloomberg is a little smoother than Biden.
And, you know, at least Bloomberg, they say he had one of like the best data collecting like teams. Like, I would have felt more confident of him like targeting money in swing states in the right districts. Or
well, I would have liked any of them. But I mean, the thing about the American system, and I think why it's inevitably going to collapse, is that you're looking at a system, it takes a couple of years, it takes hundreds of millions of dollars, but at least the candidates we get at the end are absolutely terrible. Just garbage. Just absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway. But hey, I've got to go. So do you have any last words of wisdom for me?
I was going to ask if you've heard any news on any of the props, but that won't be coming until later, will it?
Yeah, it's too soon to tell for that. So I don't know anything about it.
All right. Well, thank you, Theo. Enjoy the rest of your party. If we get a definitive announcement and you want to cry or, yell, you're welcome back. In fact, I'm going to take a 5-minute break and then keep the party rolling. I'm going to check with Forbes and see why that scallywag isn't here. But great talking to you. Send my best to you with Yvonne and John tonight.
Yes, they're with me. Yes.
Send my best and let them know if once they've had a few more drinks, if they want to come on, they are more than welcome. How late are you going? I'm going until I think midnight. I'm rocking and rolling.
Okay. I'll probably come back in then for a bit at some point, and I'll see if they want to too. All right. I'll talk to you later, my friend.
Later. All right. So that. Oh, I'll wait until he's gone before I say all the horrendous things about him. No, that was Theo Slater. He is the founder. I'm gonna have a delicious fizzy drink. Oh, that's sweeter than I'm used to. Oh, something's up with that. Oh, I don't like the fake sugar. Does this have fake sugar in it? Carbonated water, citric acid, potassium, natural flavor, aspartame. Oh, get that garbage away. I'm going to go take a tinkle. I'm going to go get a drink, and I'll be right back. So, yeah, stare at my wall for a minute. Bye. Aspartame, how dare you?
That would be very late.
Look at that. I'm back. Wasn't even like 5 minutes. It's like a minute and a half. Power P. What should I talk about? Good fizzy water without any sugars. I'm a little overweight. You can say maybe fat, dare I say. I wonder how different my life would have been if carbonated like drinks with a little like a little strawberry, a little grape in them, like the flavoring, how different my life would have been, because I drank a lot of soda as a kid. In fact, I never drank water. I drank soda, milk, and apple juice, maybe a little orange juice once in a while. So we'll see. But yeah, this one has that fake sugar in it. Can taste it. My tongue is like all numb. I'm like, excuse me. So let me check our election headquarters. All right. So, still looking pretty good for the old the Donald. I forget which website has the election predictor. See what the odds are. Gotta love the phone. Gotta love the phone. All the technology at the tip of your fingers. It's scary though. So many people sending out false information. Let's see. Battleground Straits to watch. Oof, Trump up 3 in Florida. I saw that coming. Biden up 9 in Arizona. That is still shocking to me. I don't believe it. 75% in. That's crazy. Free the Bear podcast will have to have like an expert on Arizona politics on to explain that. Because I was always under the impression that Arizona was super red. Although, yeah, super red. So that's very, very surprising to me. Let's see. Ooh, we might have tea from the Decent Federal Project. Look at this. Come on now if you like. Look at that. My fat ham thummy fingers can't type words right. Autocorrects too, gets me vexed on my docking phone. Yeah, we got some North Carolina, Trump up by like less than 1%, 0.8. That's interesting with 89% reporting. Ohio +5. Georgia, I was shocked when people thought Georgia was going to go to Joe Biden. That's crazy talk wrapped in nonsense. That is a red state. Arizona still shocking me. Wisconsin, 36 reporting, Trump up 2%. That one doesn't shock me at all. It should shock me, but no, Wisconsin is red. You know, I think people also underestimated too when Obama ran. For African Americans, it was an opportunity to have someone of their race be elected president. And that means something. It's a better reason to vote for someone than any of the other politicians have given you. But I Biden doesn't inspire anyone. I always like to remind people that Biden was picked as Obama's vice president because he was the most, I'm not going to say racist, but I'm going to say the most conservative establishment Democrat to balance out Obama's blackness. We'll call it what it is. And excuse me, drank that too fast, get all burpy. Why would it, like, African Americans, I don't know, we'll have to see the exit poll results, but I imagine low voter turnout because Biden did write a crime bill in the 90s, which I don't know if you're aware of this, not too popular amongst the African American community because it was just horribly racist and an evil crime bill. Biden won't even he's not really that progressive when it comes to issues, regarding minorities. So I get it. When you call someone a super predator, unless you're talking about like the movie Predator, yeah, it sticks with you. And I think, of course, in the primaries, Biden did well with African American voters, but that's the primaries. General election, much bigger. You get a lot more people voting, obviously. So we'll see. That's my son screaming in the background, by the way. Autism speaks. My son's nonverbal autistic, but that doesn't mean he doesn't yell, scream, and grunt. I made an unofficial. Do you guys ever do something like, oh, if this happens, then this will happen? Like, oh, if the next car is red, I will find my true love today. If Ben, my son, falls asleep before 9 o'clock, Joe Biden will win. After 9, it's going to be Trump. And right now, he is filled with vim and vigor. He's going nuts. He's going crazy. So I don't know. My oracle sense is on Trump. I also think Trump's just going to steal the election. He's just going to steal it. What the heck? Most people don't care. I wonder what proportion of people who vote for Trump are pro-choice. I'd be really curious to see that. I'm curious. I think at the end of the day, this is all about abortion. Our whole country votes on abortion. They say they don't. They'll come up with some other reason. Be like, patriotism or this or the taxes. But no, it's really about abortion. So I respect religious people who just outright say, I won't vote for anyone pro-choice. I have more respect for that than half of the pro-life people who are like, oh, I care about the military. I care about my safety. All lives matter. The police. No, it's about abortion. It's establishing your religion on other people. It's enforcing your morality on people like me. And I don't know. That ain't cool, bro. That ain't cool. I don't know this delicious strawberry drink. To be honest, the voice is getting a little hoarse. I feel like Johnny Fever doing a marathon. And we're going to be here till the election is decided, which will probably be in 3 weeks. Super interesting. A lot of super interesting articles. I know we did. If you want to look back after this, of course, the Free the Bear podcast, Forbes and I did one discussing the Transition Integrity Project's report. It was like a war game scenario for election night. And all of them were basically it's going to be 2 weeks of rioting. I love that people think it was going to be settled tonight. It'd be great if it were, but it's almost 11 o'clock on the West Coast and or East Coast. People are going to be up all night, just all worried. I don't know about you guys out there. This election felt different than any other election in my lifetime. I don't know if it's because of COVID or just the extreme divide, is that the word? Between neoliberals and I don't know what you call Trump. I mean, Trump, for what it's worth, has created his own branch of the Republican Party. Of course, founded by Dr. Michael Savage of the Savage Nation and an Ann Coulter. By the way, if you want to learn really what Trump is about, Michael Savage, radio talk show host, Howard Stern. And Howard is very liberal. He's a very Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, but just the shock value talking about ratings and how Trump campaigned was very much like Howard Stern's show in the 80s and 90s. How he would go after a person and like a radio person and just make fun of them and bully them into, getting his crowds to be passionate. Tells you about Trump's voters, but there's not going to be many people voting for Trump tonight being like, oh, I'm on the fence. Oh, I guess I'll vote for Trump. All right. We got T coming on from the Decent Federal Project. I'm going to let him plug his own stuff because I'm awful at plugging things. California National Party. Also check out my Twitter, Bill Skog. And also vote_CNP. It's got like 4,000 followers, Theo does. He's a big deal. It's a big deal. I got like maybe 180, 200. I try. Twitter is a young person's game, and I'm very old. I'm all crotchety and old. Like, get off my lawn, you damn Twitter kids with your little tweets. I also get so angry at Bernie Sanders supporters when they talk smack about Yang. It's another thing. Message to all progressives. Andrew Yang supporters. I know we hate Bernie Sanders supporters. And I know Bernie supporters hate Andrew Yang supporters. Like, we got to come together. If we're going to win a primary, we need to come together. I don't know if it's Yang 2024, if it's a Tulsi, although Tulsi seems to be just ostracized, which is a shame because I do love me some Tulsi. But yeah, progressives, if they're going to ever want to win, they're going to have to settle on a Yang. It's not going to be Nina Turner. It's not going to be AOC. You're going to have to go a step closer to an Elizabeth Warren. In fact, if we're going to be really honest, we as progressives should have settled on Elizabeth Warren. I know that's going to sound blasphemous, but gosh, Elizabeth Warren would have been a lot better than Joe Biden. Even with her Pocahontas stuff, I think she would have, at least she had policies. T, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very fine. And cherry wine. How's your night going?
Wow, this has been a crazy one. How's it going for you?
I got to be honest. I kind of expected this race to be as close as it is. I think my final electoral college, I think I officially said 269. I think I amended it because I looked and I think Nebraska will go to Biden. I think he'll be 270 to 268 for Joe. So I had this very close. So things are really kind of going as I'd foreseen. I'll tell you, like, one state that is really shocking me is North Carolina being as close as it is. And I thought Arizona was not going to go blue. I never have seen it in my life. So I was just very skeptical by nature, but that looks like it's going to happen. So yeah, the big surprise for me, Arizona and North Carolina tonight. I think the people who thought it was going to be Biden wins Texas by 4, he wins all the swing states by 10%. I imagine those people are panicking right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what are your general thoughts? Like what has stood out for you at this point?
Well, so I'll admit I probably thought it was going to be looking a little bit better for Biden at this point in the night. The biggest surprise for me has been the margins in Florida. It looks like Trump is likely to outperform his margins from 2016 in Florida. That's the biggest thing for me. Yeah, that's the crazy one. As far as I was concerned, I thought he was probably going to eke it out in Florida, or at least go to the courts to go for a recount or something like that. If Biden managed to eke it out, but the fact that it's that he's outperforming his margins, I think it was under 50% for Trump in 2016 in Florida, and he's at 51 point something in Florida right now.
Yeah, I think he's up. AP still has him up 3 with 94% in. So that's, unless Biden gets the next 6%. I mean, Florida is going to Trump, which I think is devastating, because if Biden had won Florida, he could have claimed victory tonight.
Yep.
He cannot claim Trump will claim victory tonight. At some point. Biden will not be able to. Now, I'm going to pretend for a minute that the Democratic Party actually cares about winning. I say that because, they rejected progressive candidates to run candidates like Amy McGrath in Kentucky, who just got trounced and so on. But they have to understand about Florida and just demographics in general. The Latin vote is not just Mexicans. Right. I was saying, I used to work in boxing and I lived in Florida. And if you wanted to put on a good fight to make lots of money, you get a local Puerto Rican American fighter, a Puerto Rican fighter to beat up a Mexican. That is a way you make money in Florida, or even a Cuban to beat up a Mexican. So that's Florida's population. Even Haitians, they're not Latino, obviously, but these minority demographics, most of them are really pro-life. And a lot of them just vote. I have really good friends who are Latino religious. They're voting on gay rights, anti-gay, and abortion. That's all they're voting on. And you look at the Democratic Party, Julian Castro was a fabulous candidate. But they pushed Kamala Harris and Mayor Pete instead of Julian Castro. I don't think the Democratic Party appreciates the Latino community as much as they do the African American community and the gay community, LGBTQ community. And I think the Republicans have really taken advantage of that. And it's going to help them in states like Florida, Nevada, although I think that'll go to Biden. But who cares? I mean, Florida is the fourth biggest state. I mean, they have to win that. If they can keep Texas and Florida, the swing of Latino voters and Latino population rising, it's going to be tough for Democrats to win in a lot of general elections.
100%. I mean, I think you're totally right to point out the diversity of the Latino and Hispanic community in the U.S. I think generally the Democratic Party has viewed this group in particular, as well as I'd say the African American community as monoliths, and they're by no means monolithic. And I frankly, I mean, talk about the pro-life piece. I think it looks like the socialism attack on Biden in Florida seems to have paid off, at least a little bit.
Which is funny because I was talking with Theo Slater earlier. Joe Biden is not a socialist. He really is a moderate Republican. He is like, if you ran him, I'm trying to compare him to, I don't see a difference issue-wise between John McCain and Joe Biden other than, no, I don't really see a difference. I don't see it or a Mitt Romney. Gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I probably would vote for Mitt Romney over Joe Biden. At least I'd have someone who I know had their functions about them. But yeah, I'll tell you, my wife's family is from Costa Rica, and they voted. I think they voted Biden this time, but they voted Republican because they owned a small business in New York, and they got overtaxed in New York. Just so many different taxes where, voting for a Republican, was worth 10 to 15% of their income. So I get that. And I think the Democrats, especially if they want to reach out to a lot of the minority communities, they got to embrace small businesses more and embrace the family that, immigrant family that comes to this country and builds a business. That needs to be highlighted more. That needs to be part of their agenda. That has to be a part of their propaganda. And it really wasn't. And I was even saying, they pushed hard for the African-American vote this time around. With Joe Biden, a person whose record on, minority issues is not good. And I think I talked to a couple African-American friends. They thought it was almost racist to have Kamala Harris. Oh, look, she's half black, be happy now, African-American community. Even though being out in California, I know that she was responsible for some of the worst policing and some of the worst policies towards minorities in this state. I'm shocked it's this close. I mean, I'm not, but I am. Like, I don't understand. I don't know if you're a sports fan, but like if your team kept doing as bad as they're doing, like, wouldn't you change the direction of the party? My God, it's frustrating.
I mean, obviously, I think what we're hinting at and perhaps flirting with is the largest primary challenge to Biden this primary season, and that was Bernie Sanders. And when you look at the outreach that Bernie did to Latinos in California, in Arizona, in Texas, and you look at how things are turning out now, you get the sense that Bernie would have just blown Trump out of the water.
Yeah, it would have been close. I always, with Bernie, I mean, to be clear, I was, the 10th or so volunteer for the Yang campaign. So Yang was my first choice. I think Bernie would have beat Trump. Florida would have been interesting with kind of his comments about Castro in the past. We talk about how the Trump propaganda machine called Biden a socialist. They would have revved that up for Bernie. But you know what? If Bernie was the nominee right now, and this pains me to say it as a Yank supporter, although we got to come together, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin would not be in question right now.
Yep.
They would not be in question.
And Ohio, by the way, Ohio would be in play in that region.
I think Sanders would have blown Trump out of the water in Ohio. Because Bernie,
and frankly, yep. Sorry.
Nope. You speak.
What I was going to say is I think Texas would be that much more in play as well, if you look at how he did in the primary against Biden in Texas.
Yeah. I mean, he would have, and, I'll throw Yang, I think, would have done the same thing. Like, they opened up states. Like, when I volunteered for Yang, I got more calls from people from wanting to volunteer from Kentucky, West Virginia, Montana, states like Utah, where like the $1,000 universal basic income, like in Kentucky right now, like in the senatorial race, they ran Amy McGrath, but they had Mike Breuer, and I can't forget the other guy, the African-American, he's a community organizer. He almost beat Amy McGrath in the primaries. Both of them, yes. And they both supported a universal basic income. And in Kentucky, if a family got an extra $2,000 a month, it would have been life-changing for the state of Kentucky. That would have been realistically enough money for your mortgage, for all your things, and then your work would have went for other money and spending, and you would have seen a booming economy in Kentucky, or at least there isn't despair. And I was even talking earlier, Kentucky is a great metaphor of what the Democrats did. They ran a centrist against someone beloved by the Republican base in Mitch McConnell. And why would Kentucky give up the most powerful senator for Republican light?
Right.
If you're going to go against Mitch McConnell, go big. At least shift the wind, shift it left. Make a fight for it. But, and this is going to sound, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, my Alex Jones voice. No, I think deep down, a lot of Democrats want Trump to win because Nancy Pelosi will be able to fundraise and raise all sorts of money running against Trump as president. I hate to say that. I hate to sound it. I got to be crazy, but it's sad that that's even in my mind. I can't explain. I'm just some jerk with a podcast. And if I can see these issues better than the Democratic Party and how to win an election, like that's a problem. I don't understand. Like if you seriously tell me the Democrats are trying to win elections and win control of this country, like how do you explain the incompetence they run? It's beyond belief.
No, I mean, I think the really sad state of our governance is that no one actually wants to govern.
No. You know who the biggest winner will be tonight, no matter what?
Who?
California National Party, the Cascadia Movement, and the Decent Federal Project.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I've had people in my life when I obviously stopped working on the Yang campaign. I was actually a member of California National Party before that. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to give this Yang guy a shot. I think he could actually unify the country. I just didn't know the Democrats were going to be vehemently opposed to him. But like, I came back and I've had people be like, oh, you're nuts for wanting California to be independent. And I've had those same people talk to me like within the last week and be like, you know what? Maybe you weren't so crazy after all. And I'm like, yeah, this country we can't sustain this, T. Like, we can't sustain this gridlock. First of all, not like this pandemic in the 90s or in the 80s, Congress would have got together and done stimulus checks.
Yep.
It would have got done. They would have put aside their differences. But, I think you've mentioned it when you were on the podcast before. With these gerrymandered districts, your biggest opposition is going to be in the primary for most of these districts. So for you to compromise is a death sentence for you to lose in the primary. Is there any way besides what we're proposing? Is there any solution that you could see this country gets together and is healed?
No.
No.
Short answer is no.
No.
I mean, I think we talked about this offline before, but I was on the New Progressive Voice podcast with Josh a couple of days ago. And yeah, I mean, we talked about, honestly, to be frank, we talked about, UBI, we talked about Andrew Yang, we talked about, kind of these novel solutions. We talked about, universal health care. We talked about, are these the things that would bring the country together if we could get them done? And basically my answer was yes, but that's a pretty big if. And yeah. And so when I see the landscape, what it tells me is that it's such a cliche, but we are so divided as a country. We have such different approaches on the basis of the regions in which we live that it's seeing across that divide to a legislative solution that makes working people's lives in particular better. I don't see us bridging that divide.
I don't. And I was actually, it was a great podcast. I listened to it. One of the things that I like about your project and how it relates to ours is I see your project is a great transition to a more for countries to become states. But I would love for what you are proposing, and for more information, where can people go? Is your Instagram account the place to be?
Twitter's probably the best place to find me. Decent Fed Project, no spaces, at Decent Fed, PROJ is the handle there. That's the best place for people to find me.
Your project, if people don't want California to become independent, we got to go to your solution. We got to give states more autonomy. And, the thing I love about your project and your idea is it allows not states, but groups of people to do experiments. I want to see, and, it's funny when I tell people the best way I see unifying America one day would be for California to do its own thing, have progressive policies to flourish, and see red states where they become, complete conservative, it's support the billionaire class, seeing those countries fail and then coming to their senses and joining back into a union. But right now, right, it's going at best towards fascism or right-wing populism with a compromise in some places of meh liberalism. Nobody's happy. Like, after tonight's election, the majority of people are going to be distraught and unhappy. When you include people who don't vote, independent voters, third-party voters, and the side that lost, most of the people in this country are going to be distraught. They're going to be depressed, while one other side goes the na 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 na, we won, you lost. But nothing's going to get accomplished after tonight. There's still going to be gridlock. There's going to be the filibuster. There's going to be a Supreme Court that's 100%, or not 100%, but 66% conservative. Gridlock is going to be here forever. I'm not creative enough to come up with a way that this country can heal and we can have solutions. So it's so depressing.
I mean, yeah,
good.
I mean, if I can put a button in the depressive part of it, and then maybe we can try for something cheerier. But, beyond just the depression, there's going to be anger. There's going to be rage that, somehow Trump managed to defy some of the polls again. And I'll be fair here. I think Biden still, and I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I think Biden will still pull it out as long as the Trump legal army doesn't overturn results. But whether Trump wins or whether Biden wins, yes, there will be desperation, there will be depression, but there will also be rage.
Well,
and yeah, that's why we need to be thinking towards something different.
Yeah. I was going to say, at least Trump supporters aren't deranged with guns, but no, they're deranged with guns. So we got that to look forward to. And well, I was saying to someone, I'm not going to take to the streets to riot and protest if Joe Biden doesn't win. I would have for Andrew Yang, Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren. I would have been upset. Maybe I would have went to the streets for even a sensible moderate, like who's articulate, like Pete Buttigieg. But I'm not going to risk anything for Joe Biden. Are you kidding me? This is I'm going to just focus on California. I'll ask you this. I believe you're in the great state of Massachusetts at this moment.
Yes, I have been for the last closing in on 4 years now.
Congratulations. What about ranked choice voting? Did that get passed?
I don't know where we are on that one. I think it strikes me as likely to pass in Massachusetts, but I don't know the current state of that one in particular. Let's see if I can figure it out here.
That would be great. The one solution of ranked choice voting, you'll never see it in primaries because the Democrats and Republicans want control of who they nominate. But gosh, it would be exciting to see libertarians or Green Party people. Oh, everyone on YouTube, my daughter is crossing the camera. Look at that. I thought she'd be way more excited and make way more silly faces. She's very polite. This time, let's see.
Hello, I'm on YouTube.
You're on YouTube. Get out of here. She's got quite a potty mouth on her. I'm quite proud of her. She's daddy's little scientist. Are we still hoping, Jilly, that you become, well, my hope, because she's in the GATE program. She's a very smart cookie. And we have a friend who's an environmental lawyer. I would love for her to become a lawyer for the environment. That's my goal. She'll probably end up being like a lawyer for Silicon Valley or she works for Amazon and makes sure that people get injured on the job or something like that. But we'll see. Lost my train of thought. Here's the other thing I've been talking about. We're going to have more QAnon people in Congress than we do libertarians or Green Party members. That to me is scary. How do you how do you vote for a person? Like, how does a person who believes that Democrats are keeping children and harvesting their glands to have a youthful appearance, how does that person win? I don't like, it's out of the movie Ravenous. They're like, I don't understand how this happens in America.
So let me try and tie this together to your previous train of thought, and let's see where we get from there. So QAnon, yes, we have way too many candidates where it's very possible we'll see a Senate member from Georgia in Kelly Loeffler, who will be a member of the brand new QAnon caucus in Congress if she wins. But your previous question was about ranked choice voting and how that's going in Massachusetts. But I think if you blow that concept nationally out, I think what you would see is there would be less QAnon folks likely in Congress, that the sensible would be more likely to win out in those kinds of cases. So when you look at it on both sides of the aisle, there's RCV is definitely a step in a big step in the right direction.
I would just love people to have an election where they say, wow, look at the Libertarians of the Green Party did pretty well. Maybe the next time I'll vote for them, and have it built. I would love to think, daydream of a world where instead of Democrats, there were Green Party members, and instead of Republicans, you had real libertarians, not like the fake anarchy libertarians, but like, your socially liberal, non-war fighting libertarians. I imagine that those two together could actually get something done. Whereas the Republicans and Democrats have no interest in solving problems. Like, they have a great gig. It's shocking. Was it 19% approval rating, but like 90% of Congress people win their reelection? It's it's one of those frightening statistics. Looking at election results right now. Jeepers. Oh, California, Oregon, and Washington went to Biden. What a shock. There's a guy,
0% reporting.
Yeah. Aubrey Huff, former baseball player. He's gone far right conservative. He predicted that the only states that Biden would win, I think, were Washington, Oregon, and New York. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. I was like, no, that's not going to happen. But
not Massachusetts or Maryland.
Oh gosh, those are Vermont, Maryland. There's every blue and red have states that you don't even bother campaigning. And I was talking earlier, I went through South Dakota a few weeks ago, and there were 2 Donald Trump stores. Actual stores where you could buy Donald Trump merchandise. And I was like, yeah, that's a state I wouldn't put any funds in trying to win. Like,
fair enough.
It's not going to happen. But North Carolina, Trump's up 1.3 with 95%. That's going to go to Trump. Same with Florida. Ohio, Trump up 8 with 85%. Arizona, Biden up 9 with 75%. And that's still shocking to me. Georgia, looking like Trump. Pennsylvania, still way too early. Michigan, still way too early.
Yeah, don't expect Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin to be declared tonight.
Yeah, and I think with that, the fact that Trump is going to win Florida, we're not going to know who the president is tonight.
It's going to be at least a little bit of a further haul before we know.
Do you think Trump will declare victory tonight no matter what?
Not no matter what, but with the trajectory as it's going, yes, I expect he will tonight.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how much Biden spent in Florida or if he could have done anything better, but gosh, he could have made his life a lot easier if he had won Florida tonight.
Well, you mean, all the political pundits will tell you that he really tried to broaden his chances of getting to 270 by, spending time in Texas, spending time in Florida, spending time in Georgia, spending ad dollars, by the way, in Texas and Georgia. But in my opinion, if we were to really go for the win, focus all of his energy on Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Texas, I mean, some people were saying it was kind of like a strategy to force Trump to double down and spend money there. But no, it is a terribly run campaign. All the pundits today before everything came in, like, oh, he played it safe. He's going to win this thing easy. And I was like, nope. Like, what? I don't even know what Biden's main policy is. I know, he likes universal pre-K, which I love. I had Theo, the other guest I had on. This is a challenge for you. You need to say something nice about Trump. You need to say something nice about Biden. You have to say something nice about America. So that's your challenge right now.
Okay. Something nice about Trump. That's the hard one. I might have to come back to that one.
I'll tell you the ones you can't use on Trump, because I already said he eliminated the Bush and Clinton dynasty. Theo said he made wearing makeup for men acceptable. So those are two that you cannot use.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'm still going to need to come back to Trump. For Biden, I will say he would be the comforter in chief that we need in this time of coronavirus crap. He's a relator, right? He's someone that makes an effort to relate to people. And that was the only possibility for quote unquote moving him left, was if we can show him the value of working people, and what their lives require, to make it through this time, he might see the light a little bit. And so that's what I'd say for Biden. For America, I have a lot of good things to say, to be fair. And I know that's divisive probably with the audience that we have tonight, but that's why I seek decentralization first, right? Is because I do see some value in, intellectual property rights in the U.S. We have a regimen for that here that makes innovation possible. We tend to, although we haven't done super great this last 4 years, we tend to invest money in federal research to combat disease and to encourage innovation in technology. And I could say more, but I'll leave that as my pro-America plug for the night.
And those things are all true. I can live with that.
And so back to Trump now. What to say? My gosh, I'm really drawing a blank here. I don't know.
Oh, we'll come back to that. My American answer was national parks, and Theo went with women's soccer in America. So
women's soccer. All right, fair enough. Yeah, a lot more enjoyable than men's soccer to watch. They're much more interested in playing the game than in pretending to be injured. So there's that.
Yeah. I love national parks, and I'm trying to think of other things I love about America. We do. So it's hard because I love American television, although English television has kind of crept up lately, and movies aren't as good. So that's hard for me to say. But I used to love American music when I was growing up. Alternative rock was great. America always, and it's not the government, but the people of America tend to be generous when another country is in trouble, be it like Haiti for relief, Clearly not under Trump with Puerto Rico, although Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. But Americans in general are generous in spirit. We may not sound like it sometimes, but American people tend to be charitable.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Trying to think of some other things. I'll give you a couple for Trump. He apparently is a world-class ball buster. They say that, like, if you're on the golf course with him, he'll make you laugh the whole time and be like, he's really good at verbal jabs and making you laugh. I will also say that I used to listen to the Howard Stern show. He is probably the best guest who's ever been on that show. Never should have been president, but my gosh, he was an awesome guest. So,
all right, I've got one for Trump.
All right.
He seems to genuinely care about children.
Yeah.
We saw when his reaction wasn't perhaps the right one, but we saw when he saw the pictures out of Syria, that was what motivated him to get engaged. And obviously the way he engaged was warmongering nonsense, but he engaged at least a little bit. And I don't know. I think that speaks to some level of humanity that we generally otherwise don't see from Trump. And that's worth noting. And by the way, maybe, I don't know if this will come out as true positive for Trump, but he clearly comes from a tough childhood himself. Tough not in the sense of, money or, comfort, but tough in the sense of how much he sought the favor of his father, despite his father being a very withholding man. And so that tells me that there is some humanity left in this man that could still win a second term.
And I also think it's funny that Trump literally ran for president because Gwen Stefani made more money on The Voice, or is it The Voice, than he did on The Apprentice. This was all a publicity stunt. And it just kept rolling and rolling into the White House. Oh man, still no breakthroughs. Like I said, Florida definitely going Trump. Ohio looks like it's going Trump. No new results. I'm trying to look up any congressional races.
It'll be interesting to watch throughout tonight how things end up with Georgia and Arizona. I think those are probably the two races that will give us some insights for the rest of the night, especially in terms of Black and Latino and Hispanic turnout in those states. The fact that Georgia was even a possibility for Biden makes that an interesting race tonight.
Absolutely. Hickenlooper won Colorado. No shock there. Tuberville, the coach, beat Doug Jones. Not a surprise. Lindsey Graham, they've already declared the winner, only with 57% in. That's shocking. I thought that was going to be closer. Tillis in North Carolina, probably going to win, up 1.7 with 94% in. Kelly in Arizona is going to win for the Democrats. That's a good sign. Purdue in Georgia is up 11% already with 65 in. That's going to be tough to beat. The other Georgia race, though, looking like it's going to go Democrat. Iowa might go Democrat. Montana, Collins is up and big in Maine already, only 20% in. So, yeah, I think Biden supporters are probably panicking now compared to what they thought they were going to do. For those who thought it was going to be a big win, there's no blue wave tonight. That is for sure.
Although I believe the New York Times is forecasting that Democrats might pick up a few extra seats in the House, even more
That's
than they had
interesting.
before.
House is so hard because you get like redistrict maps, you get people moving, you get a few you get some people get older, you get some younger people. It's they're very districts can be interesting. I'm really interested if Arizona holds. I haven't done the math. If Biden wins Arizona and he loses Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, but he wins Michigan, is that still enough for him?
Oh, yeah.
So say Arizona holds and he loses Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, but wins Michigan. Is that enough for him to win?
I don't think so. My math's not great, but I think that still is a Trump victory. So basically, the path right now for Biden runs through Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and the question is probably, and again, I'm not taking anything for granted. Trump could still win this thing, but the only other thing to pay attention to is, does Biden run up the score by taking Arizona?
That would be something. I'm looking on Twitter. I'm seeing what the people are saying, and it's a lot of angry Democrats, which I imagined.
Not a surprise.
Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, it is going to be a mess. It's 11:30 your neck of the woods. You're not going to see the election results. Like you're not going to bed knowing who wins. That's for sure.
Oh no.
And I think most people expected that. Did you ever read there was like the Transition Integrity Project, their like war game scenario where they said this thing might go for like 3 weeks with like just rioting and protests and all sorts of shenanigans. I don't know. Like I feel like, after tonight, I feel like I have no need to diet or to try to like stay healthy. Like I just feel like I smoke them if you got them.
There you go.
Drink your sorrows away. I saw a great meme. It must have been a Russian meme because it very much influenced me that the oligarchs are going to win tonight, 538-0.
Oh, was that I feel like that was a Ryan Knight retweet. That
it might have been Ryan Knight. I am a fan of his Twitter account. How about this? Here's a question: who will Democrats blame if Donald Trump is reelected? Who do you think they're going to blame this time around?
I mean, it's really going to be hard once again for them to blame Bernie Sanders, in the sense that he was one of the most prolific campaigners for Biden in the general, just like he was, by the way, for Hillary Clinton in 2016. But that is where my money would be, that this was the Bernie bros that lost Democrats the election again. That's where my money is. What about you?
I think Mother Russia. It'll be Russia. And it could be both. The irony about the Bernie Sanders supporters, more Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Clinton percentage-wise than Clinton supporters voted for Obama against McCain.
Right. I did know that.
People like to forget about that statistic. But yeah, I'm sure Bernie will get some anger, but I think Russia, which I never understood, like if Americans are so fooled by like a meme or like a fake bot tweet, isn't that on us more than it is on Russia? Shouldn't we be smarter than that?
So as a student of international relations, I try to stay away from the Russiagate stuff because it's so divisive in the country. There's so much. It's so divisive within the Democratic Party, frankly, where people stand on that issue. I will on the narrow issue that you brought up about whether or not memes, convincing us to vote for Trump or to not vote for the Democrat, make us whatever you want to call it. I don't know. In trouble. let's put it that way. Then I'd say that is on us. Absolutely.
Trying to think who else can be blamed. Sanders, Russia. No blame will go to Biden. No,
right.
It wasn't his fault. It's
or Obama for getting all the establishment candidates behind Biden.
That was shocking. Like, I thought for sure at that point, once Sanders started to make the run, I thought the Democrats would have went with Warren or Buttigieg. Apparently that they couldn't. That wasn't going to happen. I mean, Biden. I legitimately don't know if he has dementia, and I know that sounds very dramatic to say it, but like, there is no doubt that there is severe mental decline. If you just even watching his debate against Paul Ryan in 2012 compared to like his energy now, and like, let's be honest, he's old. Like, I'll probably be dead when I'm Biden's age. He's relatively fit. I'm not gonna take away that in his heyday he was a very good politician. In the sense that he was electable, that he could give a good speech or this and that. I mean, my gosh, he's just got such low energy now and no enthusiasm whatsoever. I don't know.
I think honestly, this was a name recognition fight. Was what the Democratic establishment determined was how they were going to play it. Everybody knows Biden. Everybody loves Obama. So therefore, we must all get behind Biden. And by the way, we absolutely can't have a Democratic socialist facing off against Trump. And that's the most like sort of, I don't know, that's the nicest way I can put it for how things turned out.
Well, how about this? I mean, if COVID hadn't happened, or if Trump did an okay job, imagine how big his margins would be right now.
Oh, it would be almost no contest.
That should be really scary to the Democrats. What would scare me if I were a Democrat after tonight if Biden wins, that they're going to think their formula works.
Right.
And it doesn't work. It worked because you started off at third base with no outs and a 3-0 count and your best hitter up to bat. All the sports analogies in one that I can do. But gosh, I mean, this shouldn't even be close. It should, like, I don't know.
It's nutty. And to be honest, I'm probably going to need to get going here shortly. But I wanted to get a little. I've shown my sort of partisan stripes a little bit, perhaps more than I often do. But I will say, on this piece about how close this is, right, and how that is crazy. I would echo something that I've been kind of thinking a lot about, which is the degree to which this election was not about large swaths of the country. This election was not about my coast. It wasn't about the Northeast. It wasn't about the West Coast. It wasn't about California. It wasn't about Cascadia. And also it wasn't about the center of the country. So when you talk about the people that, these parties take for granted, it's become that much clearer to me that this was not about those people. This is about two regions. This is about the sort of narrow Southeast and the upper Midwest. And by the way, they should be allowed to fight those things out among those two regions, right? Fight out that ideological battle for the middle. And that's one of the things that's crazy about this is there's a large constituency that thinks today Trump is the moderate candidate. Isn't that something? And so I don't know. I guess when I do my work, when it comes to the Decent Fed project that I've been building, and I'm so grateful for the collaboration that we've been able to do, the fact that CNP and Decent Fed Project and a couple of others were able to come together on a letter in support of free and fair elections, which was huge. When I look at all of that, I'm just surprised at the degree to which these two parties have determined we're not interested in helping out Californians, really. We're not really interested in helping out folks from Massachusetts or, Maryland, or you name it. We're interested in these two regions, and that's all that matters. And that is what tells me that we need to be thinking about a new way to look at this country. And I guess the other piece that I'd say, and I'm going on a bit, but what I'd say is for your listeners, when you're looking towards independence or greater autonomy or what have you, I'd say don't forget about your ideological allies who are your neighbors. Don't forget about, even if Arizona goes red or stays red, don't forget that Southern Arizona is largely very liberal, progressive even. Don't forget that Western New Mexico, Central Colorado are basically the Cascadias of the Midwest, if you will. And, on top of that, we talked about the Midwest and the Southeast. Don't forget about those that are at your ideological periphery that could become allies. When it comes to moving in the direction of greater autonomy or independence or what have you, I guess don't forget about them in the course of this election. I don't know. That's what I'd want to say.
Excellent. And once again, find you on Twitter, Decent Fed Project, no spaces. That's correct?
Decent Fed PROJ, or if you search Decent Fed Project, you'll find me.
All right. You're not hard to find. You're out there. And great chatting with you. Get some sleep if you can. How much snow do you have left?
Oh, it's all gone now.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well, get some rest, and I will call you in the middle of the night if the elections are results. I will not.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
I'll let you sleep. Take it easy.
Thank you so much, Bill. Good luck with the rest of the night, and keep strong out there.
I will try. I'm like Johnny Fever, WKRP Cincinnati, going strong all night long.
There we go. All right. Talk to you soon.
Take it easy. By the way, if you are after this and you're like, I can't get enough of this Bill guy, he's charismatic and magic, and you're tired of looking at this mug, check out our previous podcast, Decent Federal Project, Forbes and I. That's on this YouTube channel. It was a good interview. Interesting. Like I love all, I don't want to say independence movement, because his movement isn't independence, but like I can work with people who see the same problems I do. And if his solution happens instead of mine, and the country is better for it and the people are better for it, awesome. If it comes down to a California nation, party, that'd be great too. So I need to get another drink. So I'm going to take like a 2-minute break, 5-minute break. It'll be quick. I'll come back. I love hearing the sound of my own voice and looking at myself. So stay tuned. Wish I had theme music to play. Hey, me again. She got my nice shirt, by the way. WWF. Me again. One more second. One more second, my adoring audience of probably 0 people. Whatever, it's cool. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. Okay. Well, Belvita cookie in my mouth, I have returned. La Croix, not sponsoring this. Oh. Right? 11:30 on the East Coast, 8:30 on the West Coast. Let's see. Latest election news. Arizona still shocking me. Shocking me like crazy pants. Minnesota, that's good. Wisconsin. Oh, everyone thinking Wisconsin was going to be easy. That's arrogance. Arrogance. Look at that. 67% in, Trump winning by a handful. 46.8 to 51.7. Wow. Wow. What do you think of that, people? What do you think of that? What do you think of that? I don't know. Here I am, back. Keep the voice lubricated. I'm used to having Forbes on who won't shut up. I just sit there and ask, like, say one word and he just talks for like an hour. This is a lot different for me. Going rogue. Big news, though. My son, Ben, fell asleep before 9 o'clock. So that means Biden is going to win. You don't even have to worry anymore. I'm declaring Biden the winner, which means we're all losers. I still believe in Joe Jorgensen or Howie Hawkins. I don't know if they've given their concession speeches yet. It would be great if a third party won a state. I don't care if it's like Alaska, Utah, some random state. Like, I wonder if anyone's listening and they want to chime in on the chat, what state will be the first state, the next state to vote third party? Maybe Vermont would go green someday. Maybe. New Hampshire Libertarian, who knows? Alaska, Utah. I don't know. Be fun to see, though. Be fun. Be a lot of fun. I know, I just looking at Twitter, there's a lot of people worried, which I like. I like this. I like seeing people all stressed out. It's a beauty about supporting California independence. I really don't care who wins. I mean, I guess I do. Like, I guess I want Biden to win, so all my friends will, everything's good in the world. But then I'm gonna like slap them around and be like, "Hey, stupid!" No, now the real work begins. We got to get some. I don't even care if progressives. I guess I'm more progressive, but like I said, I'd be happy with libertarians. I just want to see people who aren't in this two-party system. I want to see them get booted out. Say goodbye. Oh my gosh. I don't even know things I want to do after this election. And Madden, create a Madden team, play it for a season, like Mountain Blade Warband, play some video games. Just imagine the amount of news you won't have to follow national news. I can't wait to like focus on California issues. Like I want to learn more about my state senator and give him a what for. Like, hey, you got to do this. You got to do that for me, pal. I'm going to look to see if the California propositions are in yet. I don't think they will be. Propositions 2020. Let's see. 15 looks like it's so early. It's so early. Let's see. Big one I'm interested in, 24. Ooh, 24 looks like it's going to pass. Move replacing cash bill. Ooh, some interesting ones. We'll have to, once if Theo or Michael Lobes comes on, even Yvonne Hargrove, probably the best name ever, Yvonne Hargrove. Should be either like a late night DJ or a politician with a name like that. And she's a charmer too, but we digress. So the props too early to tell. Election too early to tell. Arizona, that just shocks me. New Hampshire, I knew was going to go big to Biden. So far, it looks like it's a big win. That's interesting. Let's see. News results. Yeah, nothing like everyone doesn't. Nobody in the news. It's so funny. Every like news story, like news companies want to be the first to it, and yet, other than Fox News, everyone's being very cautious with calling states because. I guess this one you actually want to fact check. Go figure. Fox News, though, like, no, declare Trump the winner. Gosh. Yeah, right now my money is on Donald Trump being president. I thought he was going to lose the vote but still sneak his way in, with some shady shenanigans. But I think he just might win outright at this point. Gosh, we will see. That's crazy. I am curious. One of my favorite things, and this is awful. I'm such a mean, despicable monster. No, it's that beautiful mug. I love one of my favorite videos of all time is the Young Turks 2016 election meltdown. It's just wonderful to see people. So this time I'm like wondering, who do I want to see like really throw a fit? Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks. Seeing her angry is wonderful. That sounds awful, but yeah, seeing her angry and throwing a fit would be great. Rachel Maddow, Sam Cedar being upset that Trump wins, that would make me happy. On the Republican side, I want to hear Michael Savage tomorrow or whenever Trump loses. I want to hear the offensive things he says. Donald Trump Jr., I want to see him cry. That would be fun. So yeah, there's always the silver lining. Even if your side loses, watching someone else have a meltdown is glorious. So we have that to look forward to. We have another day of COVID to look forward to. That's always good. My hair, I wish I should. I don't know if I should have cut it or just somehow wished it to be longer. It's very distracting. Very distracting. My beard is all scruffy. Oh no. I don't know what's going to happen. Scary thing, if Biden wins, literally nothing will change. There will be investigations on Trump. That's all there will be. It would be more important for a lot of liberals to see Trump go to jail than to have real environmental policies or a universal basic income or Medicare for all. If you ask a typical liberal what they'd rather have, they'd rather see Trump in jail than better education. And that's why liberals stink. That's why they stink. If Biden wins and the Democrats don't have both control houses, which would be weird, the Trump or the Republicans will just investigate Hunter Biden. So nothing is going to change. So if you're in California, say, like, I'm very discouraged about this. Nothing has changed. Consider joining the California National Party, californianational.party. If you're in Northern California, that's Monterey to Oregon. I'd be the guy you'd want to get in touch with. We'll find you some volunteer work. I got to be honest, it's hard with COVID. Like our party doesn't really want to be active. I don't think people want to get sick. We don't want to get other people sick. And I just think it's bad play to be doing political stuff now out in public. I'm not going to begrudge someone who does it, but I think we at CNP, California National Party, think that that's the just the best thing to do. So we're doing a lot of online stuff. We got the podcast. Make sure you listen to that. Even if you have some good ideas for guests, or if you're like, I want to talk, I want to be a guest. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll make it happen. I don't know. After all, our podcast did interview the ambassador from Cuba, so we're pretty important. We're a big deal, dang nabbit. I often talk with Forbes, like who we'd want to be. If we could pull any Californian to support CNP, I think I got to go with Jimmy Dore, who's awesome. Jimmy Dore show. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you to listen to it because his show's huge, and he's a really good stand-up comedian. He's incredibly popular. But that dude, the last 2 or 3 months, has been spitting fire at both parties. Just pew, 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 pew. Been keeping it real. I hate that all these other ones are like, Bernie or bust, Bernie or bust. Everyone else stinks. And then like, okay, now we got to vote for Joe Biden. No. All those people who were Bernie or bust on the media who crapped on Andrew Yang, called him a libertarian Trojan horse, or called Tulsi Gabbard a Russian asset, or Elizabeth Warren a snake who's really a Republican. You talked all that crap, then have the courage to vote Green Party. Nope, Sam Cedar, Biden, the Young Turks, they all went right back to Biden. Makes you think that what they really say, they don't really mean. Maybe. Just maybe. Because I don't see how you can go and say someone like Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren, Tulsi Gabbard, they're not qualified. Like, oh, you could never vote for them. And then a month later be supporting Joe Biden. I don't get it. We got to unify to beat Trump. Do we? Do we really? I don't know. Biden wins. He says he's only going to do 1 term. So in 2024, you're going to get someone even crazier than Trump who's going to be more effective. For all of Trump's, evil, he's very incompetent. He hasn't really got that much done. I know Forbes and I, if you want to check back on an earlier podcast, I forgot which episode it was, we debated who was worse, W or Trump. I think W was worse. Iraq War, Afghanistan War, Patriot Act. It's a lot of stuff. And Trump, he couldn't get much done. He got a tax cut for the rich, just like Bush did. And then obviously there's some executive orders. But I think it's also unfair to blame Trump for all the tension in this country. It was coming. It was bubbling over. MSNBC, Fox News, even online and Twitter, all these social medias are just as responsible, if not more, for all the tension in America than Donald Trump. I cannot stand people who act like when Obama was president, it was perfection. We were utopia. And then all these bad things happened with Trump. As Andrew Yang and Jimmy Dore both have said, I think it's very profound, Trump is a symptom of the disease. He is not the disease. There's just all sorts of, I mean, it's government corruption, corporate greed, automation, globalization. These things all matter. Originally from New Hampshire, as I mentioned. I was talking to my dad, who still lives in the same town, same house. In my class of, I think we had 98 in my whole class. So let's just say 45 were boys. Let's see. Yeah, that seems fair. Over 20% of the people that I went to high school with in my graduating class have died. Boys, 20%. 1 in every 5 boys in my class in high school, and I'm 40, class of 99, New Hampshire, are dead. That should be that should bother you. It bothers me. There are some that were one person didn't get the right health care, but they might have gone anyways. But most of them were either drugs or suicide because their parents didn't approve of them being gay. And that should bother people. It's life expectancy in this country. I think it went up this year, but for 3 years in a row, it declined. And that should not happen in an industrialized nation where technology gets progressively or exponentially better. That should not happen. It's unacceptable. I'm hoping, I think the lessons that I'm hoping from this primary, as I said earlier, let's learn the difference between a progressive and a liberal. That's that for the Democrats. But for America, I'm hoping we no longer care about GDP, gross domestic product. We produce more stuff with less people now because of technology. And that's only going to get bigger. There's a thing, you can check it out. It's called Moore's Law, although I heard a person try to say it wasn't a law, but it's called Moore's Law. And it's really about exponential technology. Technology getting exponentially better. Excuse me. And yeah, we should be living better now than we were before. And it's not the case. Gross GDP is a worthless stat. Stock market, absolutely worthless. It only affects the super wealthy. One thing I liked about Trump in 2016, he was talking about these being useless stats. And he was right. Of course, now he uses them to defend his presidency, but let's do average life expectancy. Let's court, cases, people in jail, going to jail, graduation rates, clean water, education, just like happiness. I know New Zealand, I think, is starting a happiness index. That's how they're going to base their economy. I would love that. And that should be bipartisan, because how can we as voters or Congress people, how can we tell if they're doing a good job if we're using useless statistics? I think actually Congress enjoys that. Every time you hear someone like, well, unemployment in my district went up or went down in this quarter. It's like, no, and unemployment, another useless statistic. Job participation rate, much more important. And we're doing terrible with that. Most people have given up on finding a job, especially during COVID, or as my mom would say, COVID. Most people have given up. But yet, if they're working like a part-time or, still looking, it's a misleading statistic. So that would be my biggest hope as Americans, maybe even Congress, to get together and be like, hey, let's have a good system in how we base how we're doing. But I will wish in one hand and poop in the other and see which one fills first. Imagine it would be poop. Gosh, let's see. Let's go back to our election news center, which is really just me drinking this and then making news noises. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Let's see. Florida. Oh, let's see. Where are the votes not being counted yet? Oof. Oh, Trump is up 400,000. Oh, that's over. They should call Florida. Georgia's done. 24% left. Biden down 8. That's done. Iowa, toast. Gosh, Trump is putting it on Michigan. Oh, he's putting it on Biden, but still only 51% reported. So that's still, there's still hope, I suppose. North Carolina, Trump finally, yeah, he's going to take North Carolina. He's going to take Ohio. Pennsylvania, 54% in. Trump putting it on Biden. It's still way too early to tell. Wisconsin is concerning if you were a Democrat. That should be concerning to you. It should be a big issue. 71% in. Trump's at 51.8. Wow. There you have it. I'm going to create a polls group next time. Well, like, it's just going to be anonymous people and, like, just set it up. I think Theo said it right. People are embarrassed to support Trump. And I get that. I totally understand. I'd be embarrassed to support Biden, too. So you have that. But polling companies, I mean, really, they're very incompetent. I mean, it's interesting. I wonder how much the media saying Biden was going to win by so much. I wonder if that actually, Trump supporters don't believe the polls. They're going to come out and vote no matter what. Fake news, yada, yada, yada. Wonder how many liberals are like, oh, in Wisconsin, Biden's up 10%. I'm going to sit this one out. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get COVID. Root for Joe Biden, but not, actually go vote for him. I wonder if that has happened. I wonder. Just checking, seeing what is going on in the world of social media here. Let's see what people have to say. Let's see. I got all sorts of messages. I'm going to just tell someone's asking how to do it. I'm going to be like flying solo for now. Solo at this moment. Look at that. I do mention that T was on fire, though. T brought the heat. Look at that. Let's see. Let's see what people are saying. People are complaining about Democrats being stinky. Oh my gosh. Cascadia wants to chat with me, but with this technology, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. This is where I need Forbes. Forbes is like, oh, I'm going to just have a Zoom party with my friends tonight. Just cool. You get it? I don't know why he wouldn't want to be with me. God, I'm a mess without Forbes. I'm a mess. California ballots coming in. Oh my gosh. Trump. I'm curious. It's going to be exciting for me tomorrow is to look back at the MSNBC and how they must be freaking out. As a Yang supporter, a big salute to MSNBC. Woo, called him John Yang like a dozen times, kept him off graphs. Woo. It was eye-opening for me volunteering for a candidate this time to see that MSNBC is as corrupt and as biased as Fox News. Yeah, I mean that's crazy to me to think. Like, what can you say? Like the Democrats and MSNBC and Comcast, all those people, if they had fought as hard to defeat Trump as they did Bernie Sanders, gosh, how different tonight would have been. Would have been over. Would have been over. I just hope there's like some Republican out there who's listening to this is like, listen to this guy. He's conceding. He's not giving up. Trump's going to win. Woo. I hope you're getting that. I hope there's someone out there. I hope his name is Roger. You name Roger. Roger from like Mendocino. He's like, yeah, Trump's going to win. Yeah. I hope I'm giving you hope. Gosh, what will a second Trump term look like? Oh, I love national parks. If Trump gets reelected, I'm gonna we're going to Yosemite later this month. I'm taking the kids. Never been, but then I'm gonna be like, honey, we gotta hit as many national parks as we can before they are all hunting lodges for rich people or logging companies. I don't get how Trump did that. That's just beyond evil. That's like what Republican doesn't love national parks? Who? I don't know. Let's see. I gotta respond. I'm too stupid to jump on yours. Me bad. Tech me bad. That's me. Gosh, national parks. What else will Trump do? I'm sure he'll give another tax cut to rich people. Mitch McConnell. Another 6 years of Mitch McConnell. Oh, Kentucky, you stink. My dad used to love going to Kentucky to deer hunt. First time in 14 years he hasn't gone. Apparently, like in Kentucky, there's something about the deer now where can't like use them for, can't eat their meat because they're like diseased. My dad got his deer in New Hampshire. Good job, New Hampshire. But yeah, Kentucky really like, well, you know what? Why would you support Amy McGrath? Why? What is she doesn't inspire anyone. I remember all the liberals were like, oh, we can't let one of the progressive Kentucky senator candidates nominees win. We got to go with Amy McGrath. She can beat Mitch McConnell. Well, how did that work out for you? How did that work out for you, Tom Perez? You fired. Is there any way Tom Perez survives this? There can't be. I'm trying to think who would be a good new person for the Democratic National. I mean, I'm biased. If they lose, I'd probably make Andrew Yang, or maybe, you know what? I'll go with Mayor Pete. He should have won around the last time. I mean, that dude, small-time mayor, and he put up some good numbers. He was a great candidate. Like, I don't agree. I mean, he wasn't my favorite. He wasn't my first choice by any means. But you have to admire how good of a candidate he was and how good of a strategist. I know he is campaign manager, I think Liz Smith, super profoundly brilliant. She's like the Billy Bean. Hold on, this door is open. Oh, it's my daughter. Hey, Jilly, do you want come look at the camera? I got some interesting news for you.
Hello.
Trump's probably going to win re-election.
F him.
Yeah, there you go. My daughter saying F instead of the swear word. I totally appreciate it. Yeah, it's not looking good, Jilly. Not looking good. Interesting little side note in our house. We were a house divided in the primaries. They said Andrew Yang supporter. My daughter had the nerve to be a Tulsi supporter.
I like Yang, but there needs to be a female president.
You sexist monster. No,
Female
I voted for Tulsi when Yang dropped out, so we're all good. No, I didn't. I voted for Tulsi, I swear. But yeah, I was Yang and she was Tulsi. I'm so proud of my little girl for like caring at this point. Most kids our age care about like Roblox, although she cares about Roblox too. But Roblox is your life. Actually, my daughter is a Visco girl. It's just something I learned. You know, I'm very old. Like, get off my lawn. Get off my lawn, you ratchet little kids. Visco girls are very environmental friendly and they care about sea turtles. And scrunchies, but not as important as sea turtles. And I'm a George R. R. Martin fan, and he loves turtles too. So I was very happy. So my daughter is like already like How old are you now? 14? No, you're 8. She's 8. And she's already like caring about things like that. Way more than when I was a kid. Are you going to, what are you grabbing? Oh my gosh. So you're going to hear a crash of glass and my daughter like, oh my, it burns. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I do this for the kids. I do it for the future. Really, like, my gosh, Biden did not inspire anyone. Didn't inspire. Hey, Jillian, you're a kid. What are some of the more important issues for you? What do you care about?
Well, what I really care about would be...
Get on camera, you goof. You're the pretty one.
Hello. Beautiful.
Yes, you are.
But what I really care about during this crazy pandemic would really be about the environment and how there's just so much trash, and eventually probably one day the whole world just gonna be covered in pollution.
That is a very good point. And you know what, Jillian? What I love about that is people try to debate climate change, even though I believe climate change is real. But like plastic and trash in the oceans and our waterways, that's something nobody can deny.
It hurts the turtles.
It hurts the turtles. All right, get out of here.
Baby.
But thank you, Jilly, for being an awesome daughter and caring about America.
Okay with that.
Look at that. I mean, people. Trump won Ohio. Look at that. Well, we knew Ohio was going to go to Trump. Gosh, let's see. Yeah, oh my gosh, there's a lot of despair right now. Everybody is abandoning ship. Oh my gosh. Hey, neoliberals, told you so. Shouldn't have nominated Biden. Let's see. Gosh, Andrew Yang, come on, America. Marianne Williamson, sad face. Wow, this is just crazy. They're still saying Arizona, though. That's interesting. People are panicking. I love it. I love it. Remember, if you're in California, how about this? Even if you're on the West Coast, because there's a Cascadia movement with your name on it. You deserve better than this. California National Party. I'm going to say one thing I'm particularly proud of myself. Have not started drinking yet. I don't think I will. Don't think I will. It's too late to start drinking. This is how I roll. California, one thing I've learned to do was I live in an area, I have 2 amazingly beautiful wine countries, Sassoon Valley, Green Valley, and right next to Napa too, like 30 minutes from like downtown Yountville. I've learned to become a day drinker. There's a beauty in day drinking where in California, you go get a bottle of wine. Although we have a thriving beer community, I gotta be honest, I'm more in the wine. All these local vineyards and learning about wine. I drink in the day. I don't drink at night now, except if it's delicious sparkling water. But yeah, in California, you can join our party and don't get down. We still have olive oil. We have wine. We have Sonoma cheese, legal pot, legal mushrooms. Mushrooms, come on. Can't beat that. Can't beat that. I was actually thinking of shrooming for this event, but since I'm all alone, I think that would have been rough. I think a lot of time I just would have been like, look at the shadows, man. They're creeping in. I would have looked at a picture of Trump with his makeup and his eyes. It would have been even scarier than how I looked now. Ooh, ooh. Gosh. Yeah, people are really, really, they're panicking. Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin reporting election day votes earliest and absentee votes latest. We went over a lot of this the past few months. They won't have final results until the end of the week at the earliest. There's no point in looking at them now. Yeah, I've heard this too. Still. Florida went to Trump. Oh, like Trump's going to claim victory. He's going to claim victory, and then he's going to fight to get those votes not counted. So Biden, it's on you. You should have won Florida. Should have won Florida. They didn't. And leave it up to the courts. It's a shame Trump stacked the courts. Real shame. Ugh. I would have been this stressed out no matter what, even if Biden was winning. But I will admit it is fun to see Cat wanted to come in. It is fun to see liberals squirm. I hope that, I was saying, Theo, we learn the difference between liberals and progressives, and Democrats start nominating progressives instead of worthless liberals. You go to like places like Ohio, like remember 2016? It hasn't changed. Like comedians are getting like attacked, like Shane Gillis said a few offensive things, and a bunch of liberals ruined his career. Now he doesn't have a career. Now he doesn't have money, and they all feel great about themselves, like they accomplished something. They didn't change anyone's heart. They just ruined someone's life. And there's a lot of people out there who look and they're like, I don't want censorship. I remember when I was growing up, the censorship came from the Christian right. It now comes from the liberals. Versus all the artists, all the entertainers, and they're all like, blah, blah, blah. Censorship is great as long as it's for something I support. That ain't cool. That ain't cool, bruh. Let me adjust my mic. Mic 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Another message here. This just in. DC goes to Biden. Oh my gosh. Florida. I mean, that's a one. Florida is shocking. It's a decisive victory. Decisive. Yeah, that's 48 to 51. I mean, no, let's do the math. 47-8, so it's 0.2. 2.5 points. And that's enough. That's not a small margin, especially in Florida. That's like 400,000 votes. Arizona, though, that's shocking to me. I can't get over that. Too bad there wasn't a drinking game where someone had to take a drink every time I was shocked by Arizona. I'm outraged. Arizona. That is so interesting to me. I remember, well, I mean, I guess they nominated McCain was the last of the moderates. I don't know. Let's see the Senate race updates. Senate race. Mark Kelly leads in Arizona. Susan Collins leading in. Wow, that's shocking. That's still 60. Wow, Susan Collins is putting it on Sarah Gideon. That's surprising. They're going to blame the independent. They'll definitely do that. They'll be like, oh, that 5% wouldn't have helped. Well, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. So deal with it. Let's see. The other parties. Let's see. Let's check out the House. Christy Smith leads. That's good. No, it doesn't matter. Let's look at California. Let's look. Election results. California. My handy dandy phone. Joe Biden declared the winner. Well, whoop-dee-doo. Knew that was going to happen. Howie Hawkins, my vote, didn't even get 1%. Oh, that's disappointing. That's really disappointing, California. that Kanye West did almost as well as the Green Party. That is really, really disappointing. Oh, California. Let's check out the House. See if we can find. Oh, John Garamendi leads with 61%. That wooden statue. Oh, should have been game show host. Oh, sorry, Tamika Hamilton. I did vote for you. Just because John Garamendi never responded to my concerns. Didn't even give me. I would have been happy if he had. Oh my gosh. Big FU to San Francisco, fake progressive city. Nancy Pelosi with 80% of the vote. Wow. You had a real opportunity to have a great congressman, and you decided not to. Shame on you. Ro Khanna leading. That's all right. That's good. Eric Swalwell. He's all right. I like him okay. Let's see. Ted Lieu's winning. Jimmy Gomez. Oh, that's a bum. Ooh, David Kim keeping it close. Keeping it close, David Kim. I love it. 52-47. That is great news. David Kim is going to be a superstar in politics. So that is good. That is good. Let's see. Katie Porter leads. I love me some Katie Porter. All right, she's up 60-40 with 68%. She's my favorite. She's one of my favorites. I love when she gets that white billboard out and just starts berating corporate people. She's so like, she's every mother, every nagging mother. And I say that in a good way. She's awesome. In fact, if Yang won, that's who I wanted him to pick as his vice president. Would have been Katie Porter. Because I would have loved to seen her just go after Mike Pence. Well, Mike Pence is a really good debater. I thought he put it on Kamala Harris. I know a lot of people really disagreed with me when I gave my hot take, but Mike Pence is good. Like, he's slick. And he keeps his composure. He was a radio talk show host, so he knows his stuff. And Kamala Harris, I think, comes off as a terrible debater. I know everyone worships Kamala. Let's remember, she was the one that the Democrats wanted to have as the nominee because, let's face it, she hits a lot of check marks for liberals. Sex, her sex, her ethnicity, plays by the party rules. They really wanted her to win, but Tulsi had other plans for her. She had everything handled her. She lost to my guy Andrew Yang. She lost to Mayor Pete. She's a terrible candidate. She was losing to Yang in California, a relative unknown in her own state. And that's who they picked as a vice president. I know they weren't going to pick someone super progressive. I knew Biden wasn't going to do that, but my gosh, you could have reached an olive branch and excited the base and picked Elizabeth Warren. You could have done that. You could. Oh, look at that. It's Forbes. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Forbes is connecting to audio.
Hey, what's going on, biz?
All right, you got a little bit of an echo, but it's okay. We're going to work through it. So Trump's going to win, right?
I think it's going to be more of a nightmare. Why do I have an echo? It's weird.
It's fine now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's kind of like it's something where I hear it too. Damn it. What is that coming from? Hold on a second. Damn it.
Dun, 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 dun. I'll do the People's Court theme while you're working on that. Dun, 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 dun. Here's the plaintiff, Kamala Harris. She is a useless senator from California.
She was truant.
Was. Oh, my gosh. That was one thing I was looking forward to Biden is we could have maybe got a better senator than Kamala Harris. I was hoping maybe a Ro Khanna or Katie
Well, I mean,
Porter.
we're always going to have some kind of hack. What is this?
No, this wasn't meant to be.
Is it echoing again?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Well, I hear it now.
Oh.
I hear it now. I hear it now. I hear it now.
You know, ducks don't echo in caves. Interesting fact.
You know what the hell? Hold on a second. Let me get back into it. I think it's load right. 1 second.
Check the PC load letter.
PC load letter. What the hell does that mean?
I love that. And it's back to the me solo show. Oh my gosh. I just love that all the liberals who are just, it's going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Nope. Prop 14 looking good. Oh, Prop 15. Ooh, that's bad. That's losing.
All right. Is there any improvement?
Yes, I hear something in the background, but that's all good.
Okay, that's my TV going on. All right. Well, hold on.
Yeah. California ballots too early to Prop 22 was winning. That's so early to tell. Only 31%. Like that can just be, and they tend to say like
they can get flipped, but I mean, oh, damn it! It's just so echoing. Where's that coming? Hold on a second. Let's see.
Hey, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
Let's try this. Is that better at all?
It is.
Okay. For some reason, my phone is not going well.
Oh dear.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me try this again. Technical difficulty. Please stand by, people. Go.
We could send a man to the moon. We can get this podcast perfect.
Your default has changed. Samsung Go mode.
Look at that.
Did that work?
Yes, I hear you much better.
Well, I can hear myself echoing that. Okay.
Don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Well,
so
if you can't hear the echo, then I guess someone else can just pretend it's not happening.
Yeah, like I haven't drank yet, so it doesn't matter. But gosh, I've talked to Theo tonight, and I've talked to T of the Decent Federal Project, and I think we all agree the winners tonight are the Cascadia Movement, the California National Party, Decent Federal Project, and the New England Independence movements.
I think that's
big winners for tonight.
Well, I mean, the thing is that and Biden is winning by, I think, about 2 million as of this recording, by 2 million votes popular vote wise. And then if you look at California itself, that state, Biden has won by a landslide of 70%, which means that, again, like that is one of the most ridiculous margins ever. Not even Trump can brag about that in Mississippi, for example. So this is a state that does not want to have Donald Trump, but what looks like we might be forced to have Donald Trump. And again, that kind of shows that we need to have a little more self-determination about what's going on here. It really is kind of a strange situation where, like, again, we have to be basically waiting in our homes to see if the rest of the country is going to wise up to this asshole.
No, they certainly don't seem like it. I'll tell you, the biggest shock for me tonight, two things: how easily Florida went to Trump, and that Arizona went to Biden. I'm still shocked by this. I guess it's a pleasant surprise. I don't know. Like I said, sure.
Well, I mean, the Arizona thing kind of makes more sense. Florida is a gigantic surprise. Because again, it just went so freaking easily. But again, like, we have situations where, first off, we're not going to figure out who it is going to be tonight. I mean, I think everyone's kind of at that point. I mean, it's like it's past midnight on the East Coast. So like, obviously we're not having a clear cut who's got what. The other part of it too, is that there is still a ton of mail-in ballots that have not been counted in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, and in Michigan even. And so those mail-in ballots thing, like that could tip it, but it's going to actually cause, I think, a worse political crisis, because I think a lot of Trump supporters are going to go to bed tonight thinking like, boy, our guy is really on the path to winning. And they could get for a rude awakening come a week in. And then we're going to get another flip, because the Democrat Biden people are going to be like, well, we just won. Those mail-in ballots came in finally. And then they're like, oh, that's fantastic. And then it flips over again because Trump's going to challenge it. Trump's going to send it over to his Supreme Court buddies. They're going to throw out a bunch of stuff. They'll give him the presidency again. So we're going to be like through a back and forth kind of jiu-jitsu match. And Trump's going to win. And again, not legitimately, not by popular vote, and definitely not by the will of California.
Yeah, we pretty much called this election. You and I both, I think, and Theo, like, what I think is wonderful about this night, for me at least, is as a person who supports California independence, I don't have as much skin in the game as everybody else. So I was able to look at this, I think, a little more objectively. Or we were. I say we. I say I mean we. But,
sure.
You know, this mythical blue wave did not happen. That's for sure.
That's the first thing to take off of it, right? It did not happen. The second part is that it looks like that the country is almost evenly divided in a lot of ways. It could easily become a situation where it's 269 electoral votes versus 269 electoral votes. That's not out of the realm of possibility. And I think that it shows really, again, like you go to California's numbers, California has rejected Trump administration policies. The rest of the country is still trying to make up its mind. And we're going to be dragged into that abyss again, because, again, if he gets a second term, I mean, I don't know what kind of nonsense can come out.
It scares me that he's already talking about, like, privatizing and, like, cutting up the national parks. Like that, that should be a harbinger of things to come. That should be scary to people, because, like, I don't even think W would have even dared go after the national parks. Like, even he.
Well, W used to always talk about, like, the Alaska. What was it? Something in Alaska. It was kind of like some preserve that, wilderness preserve that he was going to, like, basically open up for drilling. But he never really kind of carried it through. Trump doesn't give a damn about any of this kind of stuff, so of course he's going to do that. Yeah, I mean, again, for example, we have so many beautiful national parks, and again, like, if you want to have like oil drill or whatever they're going to do over logging, that's kind of the future if you just decide to accept this federal union as it is.
Before I forget, because I enjoy your creative opinions, I asked T, I asked Theo, and I answered, because I want this to be fair and balanced. We are a fair and balanced podcast. I want you to say something nice about Donald Trump, something nice about Joe Biden, and something nice about America.
Well, I think the first thing about Trump I can say nicely, and I've always thought this, especially because some of my extended family was kind of in the firing line. Him sitting down with Kim Jong-un was actually a very good move. Now, I don't know what his real point was with that. I kind of feel like that there was just a cheap PR opportunity in some ways. But I do think that Trump was sitting down with him in a way that actually kind of de-escalated the crisis in the Korean Peninsula. And it could easily turn into a nuclear catastrophe, because I think that Hillary would probably try to be tough with him, and because she can't look weak to the Republicans, and I think that she would try to look tough. And hell, if Tokyo went up in a nuclear blaze, it's like, well, again, we taught that asshole lessons. And give us 2020 Hillary. So he did that right. That was, again, broken clocks, PR opportunity, whatever you want to say. Trump really made sure that he could actually talk to this guy, which blew open the door to, for future presidents. They can always say, Trump had the precedent to actually sit down with this guy. So we can always be negotiating, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And again, this isn't appeasement or anything, because we have so many nuclear weapons and troops on that peninsula that, again, the United States is always in a position of strength and actually can finally start talking to him, because there's no other way. Like, if they try to do regime change in North Korea, they have not just nuclear weapons, they have, I forget how many artillery pieces that are trained on Seoul. So, like, for example, 60,000 people can die from conventional arms in like the first hour. So, like, again, like, there's a lot of things where it's like you have to negotiate and talk with these people. It's kind of like, talking about the Soviet Union. They're that equal strength, at least in that particular part of the world. So that's one thing I think is very good about Trump. I think Biden has opened up in a couple ways with the fact that even though he doesn't say Green New Deal, it's kind of the closest version we're probably going to get in our so-called quote-unquote normal U.S. system. So it looks like that he is pushing for a lot more climate change things. I mean, he actually said, and again, I don't think it was, a slip of the tongue. He was talking about basically turning off the fossil fuel industry. So I think he kind of believes that. I think he thinks about his grandchildren in some way. And he wants to make that happen where they don't live in some kind of hell planet. And the other part, too, is that he did open up, and again, most left-wing version of any medical care plan from the Democrats with the the public option thing he has slapped onto his own healthcare plan. Because even Obama or Hillary never really had balls out public option. Biden has actually done that.
And a public option is a decent transition. Like, if you get the public option, you're going to get Medicare for all eventually.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's, again, it's not what I want, but I think it's just that transition-wise, that does kind of work. Now, the best thing about, say, the United States is that I would, America has, how do you put this? The population of America is always trying to, at least in a kind of general way, and again, half the population is extremely wrong, but in a general way, everyone is trying to pay attention to certain principles and the execution. So I think that everyone really needs to pay attention to the Constitution to a degree. I think. Sorry.
I was going to say your answers were way better than mine. I said Trump got rid of the Clinton and Bush dynasties. I like Biden's universal pre-K, and I love national parks. Those were mine.
Well, I national parks in America, that's not a new idea. For a lot of places do have that. I just think that Americans at least try to pay attention to some sort of principles when it comes to politics. There's a lot of other countries around the world. I'm not saying this is unique to America, but there's a lot of other countries in the world where political principles are not paid attention to. It's just whatever tribe, creed, whatever. Americans, again, half the population could be nuts and just looking in different ways, but I think Americans are really trying to live up to some kind of higher standard that is based on a secular set of standards, not as opposed to this is my religion, this is my creed, this is my tribe or anything like that, or again, this is my race, or this is my homeland, which is by blood. It's not like Americans can't say that they're connected to the land by blood. There's no blood and honor Germany kind of crap going on here. Though some people might have that, but that's not a general thought.
I'm curious. I've asked this to everyone. Do you think losing tonight will be a wake-up call to the Democrats to have to open up to progressives?
It will discredit the moderate wing who took over the party to a degree. But I don't think it would be really a wake-up call. I think it'd be more of a wake-up call to people in geography, not based on ideologies. So for example, Oregon, Washington, the West Coast, other states are just voted so overwhelming against Trump. They're gonna look around and go why are we doing this?
Yeah. I mean, without question, we're the big winners tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if it keeps going the way it is, you know, and again, it's going to be this judo flip kind of thing. I mean, I think that what's going to happen is that Trump people are going to go to bed thinking they're winning. Then the mail-in ballots come in. So the Democrats are going to think they're winning. And then it's going to flip over again with, again, the Supreme Court screwing everyone and giving it to Trump. And then at that point, the Democrats, I think, are going to be pretty much discredited. And then you know, people are going to look for different answers, and it might be connected to geography and their place as opposed to just like simple ideology. Because I mean, like certain people are going to be like, how can I keep like, you know, I believe in certain things, but the rest of the country doesn't. So why do I have to keep getting dragged into it?
Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder if Donald Trump would just be like, if he wins again in like Cascadian, California, given trouble, he just goes, fine, you guys want to be your own country, screw you. That would be awesome. I would love that more than anything. That would and
he could be the one to swing it, because I mean, like he basically got the conservatives to buy the fact that he could go to North Korea and it didn't look like a peace. You know, so like, and that was the biggest like no for like the longest time, right? You know, sit down with the North Korean leader, you could give him like, you know, respectability. So if he could sell himself going to, you know, basically the Korean border and like sitting down with Kim Jong-un, he could totally sell to his constituents, yeah, we're going to just give up half the country. So yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, especially if they kind of start going around and going like, with our constitution system as crappy as it is, we don't have to worry about those senators from California. We don't have to worry about those representatives from California, and we don't have to worry about the electoral college votes from California. So goodbye. Or again, they're part of the Cascadia as well.
Yeah, gosh, we got comments on YouTube. Cal exit from America sounds very good right now, given how the election night is going. Yes, I think that, like I've said, the big theme is tonight. California independence seems very reasonable. You know,
it does. I mean, again, like look what's happening. Again, our state is 70% for Biden. Now, again, I'm not saying Biden's a great guy and we're all Democrats, but it shows that we're not buying this Trump madness. And again, a lot of parts of the country are. And again, it looks like they're probably going to manipulate the political system to make sure that madness continues. So at that point, why should we keep going down this bad path with everyone else? It's kind of like finding out that your spouse is like, you know, talking to ghosts and sacrificing cats. You kind of have to go after a moment, go like, you know what? This person's out of their freaking mind and I want out. Especially before they stab me with the kitchen knife.
Yeah, I mean, gosh. And, you know, I brought this point up to Theo, too, and I guess I'm just regurgitating the same talking points to just every new guest. I've been like Johnny Fever, 3.5 hours. We're going to have more QAnon Congress people than Green and Libertarian combined.
Yes, and by the way, the QAnon thing needs to be emphasized as a very, very dangerous political cult on the same level as Nazism. Because
I'm going to go a step further, worse.
Well, I mean, they haven't invaded the East or gassed, you know, millions of people yet. So, well, I'll give them one part of the benefit of the doubt. But I would just say that the one part of it is that it's basically regurgitated Nazism. You know, like what people don't understand why the Nazis had such a prevalent cult in Germany was because they were basically QAnoning Jewish people. They basically were talking about like a pedophile cult. They were talking about blood libel, sacrifices, weird crap that was going on behind the scenes that major politicians were a part of. I mean, again, the only thing QAnon doesn't have is the rampant anti-Semitism, although I think sometimes it's kind of dog whistled with them. But they just don't have it like so out there. But I mean, if you go back into the history of the Nazis in the 30s, they were talking about the same thing that, again, like, you know, basically kids were being molested. There's some weird things going in politics and government. There's weird shadowy figures in finance or controlling things behind the scenes. And again, they're manipulating all the major parties. So it's no different to me. It's the same exact conspiracy theories. It's been updated for 2020. And again, it's a little more progressive because, again, they're just talking about a general elite, not just a Jewish elite.
You know, these hate groups have evolved, like the Proud Boys, QAnon, where it's not race hatred, it's ideology. Where like you can be one of the good ones and be a part of QAnon or the Proud Boys. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because it's a different. It's upgraded for the 21st century fascism. You know, like for example, like it is a misnomer to keep saying that the Proud Boys are white supremacists. They're not. However, that doesn't make them really that good or, you know, not fascist. They are fascist. They don't have the race prejudice as the old school white supremacist Nazis, but what they do have is this Western civilization chauvinism, where they find that, you know, Islamic people are trash. They kind of dog whistle Jews. They're not so heavy against that, but of course, if you get down the line, they kind of don't like them too much. But that's not the real policy. But they definitely hate Islam. They definitely hate feminism, and they definitely hate liberals, and they definitely hate weakness, and they have like a very much a weird, ultra masculine, like, you know, take on everything, which is kind of like, you know, again, going back to 1930s fascism. Part of fascism was the idea that males were getting weak and soft, and that civilization was becoming decadent, and they have the same kind of thing going on. But again, it's just that, yeah, they do have Puerto Ricans and some black guys and some Asian guys in it. They're not, again, the old school Nazis where they're based on race purity. They're just based more on just being the tough guy in the room. And again, they do hate Islam. They do hate socialists. They do hate women. And that's kind of more important parts of their identity.
Interesting fact about me. I have been shitting on the Proud Boys since their first day. Before there was even a group, the
name itself is easy to shit on.
They, Anthony Cumia, he's still a shock jock, but he used to have Gavin McInnes on his podcast network.
Yeah, McInnes, yeah.
So Gavin, when he brought that up the first day, it was just a universal sign of like, this is the douchiest thing ever. Like, these guys are. It wasn't even like attacking them first for their political ideology, which was obvious. It was just like, this is like a real creepy, like cultish kind of group. In fact, I think if you want to be second in command, you have to eat a bowl of cereal that has urine instead of milk.
Yeah, there's like all this kind of weird, stupid, like frat boy kind of bullshit, you know? Like, for example, like I know the initiation is that you have to get punched in the chest until you say like 5 cereal names.
Yes.
I know there's certain degrees of it too. Like, for example, if you want to be a 4th degree Proud Boy, you have to get like, you know, a tattoo of them, or no, 3rd degree you have to get a tattoo, and I think 4th degree you have to basically like, go to jail for like kicking Antifa's ass or something like that.
Well, they're very sneaky. They provoke Antifa, which, I mean, that's on Antifa. They shouldn't. I'll tell you one thing that bothers me about Antifa. Like, if you're gonna get in fight with the Proud Boys, learn how to throw a punch. Like, every time I see Antifa, like slapping, and like, these Proud Boys are not
really know how to fight. I mean, it's just like, that's kind of the funny thing too. Actually, most of the time I ever seen public fighting, most people don't know how to fight. I don't know if like the training goes out the window or whatever. But like, you know, Proud Boys, I mean, like the cereal craft, the frat boy stuff, the stupid polo shirts that they wore that like the company just discontinued because they wouldn't be associated with it anymore. You know, just the name itself, and the fact that they want to start street fights all over the place when anyone who's like left in Mussolini. I mean, again, these people are scum. They're just the most worst people on the planet. And again, they're just brown shirts for the 21st century. And again, they should be stomped out. You know, it's just like, if these guys got curb stomped a few times, it would just make my day. Because again, these guys are just, excuse my language, a bunch of effing idiots, you know?
Yeah, no, it's, well, and you know what? It's their country right now more than it is ours, Forbes.
Yeah, but I mean, also, I just felt, you know, they're geographically more prevalent in certain areas, but in California, I don't think they have the kind of numbers. And when they do, they usually get their asses stomped out. You know, like, for example, like Huntington Beach, which is always like Nazi Beach, you know, basically they have a Proud Boys contingent, but they are pathetic, and they've never shown up in any numbers. You know, I've been around like Black Lives Matter stuff in Huntington Beach, and like they never really have come out the way, I mean, like they might drive by. I've seen like, you know, some guys, they drive by for a second because they're afraid to get out of their car, but you know, it's not really the same kind of it's not like, again, like, the stormtroopers like going down the street and getting 32.
Oh, it's
But the rest of the country, it's a real thing, though. I mean, this is, again, these guys are a little stronger, and that's why, I think Trump was, wink, wink, nod, nod, stand by, stand down.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's this close, Forbes. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, I guess, you know what? Democrats shouldn't have nominated Biden. Gosh, I mean.
Well, I mean, it's just, devil's advocate for a second. I think it could have come down to the fact that you could put out anyone else out there. I think it's just we found out that, like, there's a lot of parts of the country that actually like Trump BS. And we're coming to the opinion, or we're coming to the conclusion now that, like, these people actually do exist. And, like, I think we're kind of seeing, like, have you ever heard of, like, the Bradley effect?
Educate me.
Okay, so what that was is that basically, I think Tom Bradley, I think, again, don't quote me on this, but, like, Tom Bradley was a black Democrat who was running for governor against Pete Wilson. Back in, like, the late 80s or 90s. And in every one of the polls, he was way ahead of him. But then what happened was that the election day showed up, Pete Wilson won. And so basically political science people were like, what the hell happened here? Because, like, the polling error was so big, and it's like, okay, so this makes sense. Well, they kind of started going back through things, and what they found out was that a lot of people, white people, weren't comfortable voting for a black guy, but didn't want to say that to the pollster. So the polling got off because, again, like, these people, like, yeah, I'll vote for Bradley. But then, like, when they got to the polls, it's just like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to vote for a black guy. And then,
yeah, that's the beauty of anonymous voting. You can vote for whoever you want.
And I think that there's a lot of anonymous Trump people who are like, I don't want to keep fighting with my liberal relatives, so I'll pull a switcheroo on them.
Quick update on California ballot measures. 49% reporting, so that we're at 49% now with all of these. Prop 14, which California National Party had no opinion on, but we both supported, 52% yes.
When was that one?
That was stem cell research, Prop 14.
Okay.
Which we, not the best written policy ballot initiative, but, the spirit of it we supported. Prop 15, changing commercial property tax, 50.8% says no. That's still close. I mean, I'm not. Prop 16, ending a diversity ban, 54.7% says no. That is discouraging. Prop 17, restore felons voting, 60% says yes. That's great.
Okay.
Oh, that's disappointing. Voting, allowing age 17 primary voters, 54% saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, damn kids, get off my lawn, get off my property.
One more year, it's going to make a difference.
California proposition to change property tax rules, Prop 19, we supported that, correct?
I think so, yeah.
That is winning by 52%. Prop 16, stricter parole sentencing, 51% reporting, 61% say no. That's great. Oh, this one's Prop 21, local government rent control. That's at 57% no.
So they don't even have local rent control. Okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah, that one, Governor Newsom and a bunch of the establishment Democrats put a lot of ad money into that, which.
Of course they did.
Of course. Prop 22, oh gosh. 51% and 58% yes. Wow, that is disappointing.
Yeah, that sucks.
Shame on you, California. Dialysis machines we had no opinion on. That's 63% no. Okay. Oh, I got 57% for Prop 24. That's okay.
Well, which one again?
That's getting money for your technology, for your data.
Okay.
It opens the door for that. Prop 25 was approving replacing cash bail. We supported that very much. That's at 53% no. Ugh.
So they want to change the cash bail. They want to keep cash bail.
Yeah.
Because screw poor people. Let's deal with it.
Yeah. That's gosh, all in all, a real crap night so far. I mean, I was hoping some of those props I thought were really going to be easy.
I would have hoped more for like Prop 15. That was kind of a bigger one. But I guess that one's somewhere.
Yeah, Prop 15 was literally like, let's tax mega farms to fund our schools. California, what's good and what's bad in this. I think that, where I live, not the richest area, but my daughter and son go to a really good school. We found a good school. And I just think, if they had a little more money, how great that school would be. How could just have a little more funding, because we're not one of the more Californians do not spend money on their children when it comes to education.
Yeah, it's like per capita it's kind of low, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, we're losing to Nebraska and Iowa.
Yeah, well, California actually kind of is more of like a libertarian state if you kind of think about it, because it's like oh, we're like so socially cool, and like we love our gays and we love our like minorities and stuff like that, but like we gotta spend money on poor people. Yeah, we ain't doing that.
It's funny how you do a few social issues and people think you're progressive when, let's be real, the real progressives in America are in Oregon and Washington right now.
Yeah.
Or maybe Vermont.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. But California's not. California is basically, it is the Hillary Clinton state where basically, all they care about is about having more women and minorities in the boardrooms, and that's about it.
Yes.
You can't even say they're championing socialists. They're just basically, again, they're just kind of the Marin County liberalism. Where it's just like we're going to slurp our wine, we're going to sit in our big yards in our $5 million houses, and we're not going to say a damn thing unless you try to put a homeless shelter near us, and then we'll freak out.
Nancy Pelosi won with 80% of the vote against Shade Buttar, who was a real amazing candidate who would have been.
Well,
he had some issues with some controversy, but his Medicare for all, Green New Deal, universal basic income, he checked all the progressive boxes, and I hate Nancy Pelosi.
What's so funny to me is just these establishment politicians who are the head of the political class of the United States, right? For some reason, you can't take these people out with a nuclear weapon. It's interesting. Again, she had such a hold over a district, even though I'm sure that she's been there. Oh, I guess she shows up for a fundraiser, but I don't think anything else ever happens there. And Mitch McConnell, I think, won Kentucky too, right? So
yeah, he won big. They ran the worst candidate against her, which was. Ugh.
You did a Freudian slip there. Worst candidate against her, Mitch.
Mitch, he's a turtle. He's a he or a her. It's all good.
Well, I was just gonna say though, is just that when it comes to these kind of again, people hate the establishment, they hate the political class, they hate this and that, blah 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 blah. The people who have the easiest chance to toss out these assholes never do. I don't understand. Yeah, I never understand it. It's just every kind of hack politician who is geriatric and basically feeble and kind of insolent and malevolent. Their constituents are just clapping like seals every time they show up. So I don't know what it argues more for term limits, I guess, because at a certain point you can't get these people out with it any kind of means. And
no, you're right.
It just is again I always kind of use this analogy, and I'm sure everyone who's actually talked to me in person is such a Destiny saying this, but we're basically in late stages of the union, You know, our life expectancy is going down. Our defense spending is ridiculous. Our budget is completely bust. Our infrastructure is falling apart. The outside world looks at us like we're nuts. Our West Coast is ready to leave at any moment. And our political class is aging and decrepit. I mean, look how many years Pelosi's been around. Look how many years Mitch McConnell's been around. Look how old they are. Again, I have nothing against older people, but I also know, and I talk about this with older people, that you do not have the cognitive means to understand what is happening in the country and actually have the passion and energy to keep doing your job properly. I mean, like,
yeah, and how about this? Just like not knowing about technology.
Yeah, I mean, like those Senate hearings where like Mark Zuckerberg has to explain how they open up Windows or whatever that is, you know?
Yeah, like I believe that children have no future. No, it's been a disappointing night. So how about this, Forbes? Tomorrow we do like a kind of a post-election day after roundup. Because we're not going to get election results till midnight, and I am just Johnny fevered out. But it was great talking to you.
Yeah, it's great talking to you. Thanks for keeping going with this. And again, this is quite a marathon, especially with the evening where there's been no clear cut anything really, except for California's disappointed us in some ways. I guess that's the only thing I got out of this so far.
Yeah, we'll have ballot initiative results tomorrow, so that's something we definitely go over. I thought they would have been coming in a little earlier, but yeah, it's going to be till midnight until we find out. So on that note, California National Party, and yeah, have a great night, everybody. As great as you can, considering what is going on.
God bless us, everyone. All right.